hope everyone had a good break, a good vacation. Allen Stiles here, Sacktown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. Joined by our guy, Anthony, who is helping out today, filling in for one Kyle Ledbetter, who is enjoying his time down in Southern California. At least maybe Kyle is getting some warm weather here, but Anthony is going to do a great job for us. Anthony, Sacramento native, working with the station and is already crushing it. So say hi to Anthony on the Sack Chat when you call in today, because I'm sure there'll be a ton of calls. Say hi to Anthony as well. And because of what the Kings have been able to do or not do, we know that a lot of people have a lot to say. So once again, phone lines will be open for all of the 4 hours, 916-339-1140, as we ask some tough questions. And look, we might have some time for Niners. Probably not, okay? Because at least we know they're cooked. The question is, are the Kings cooked? We're trying to figure that out. The Kings are 1-6, their last 7 games, with some bad losses. They are now 9-12. They have lost to some really, I should say, underwhelming opponents, all right? They've lost to the Hawks. We know that the Hawks were undermanned, as well as the Kings. That was when they were missing 3 of their big guys. They lost to the Clippers. The Clippers already undermanned, and they were also missing Norm Powell. They lost to the Nets, who just aren't very good, and they were actually missing some guys as well, as Dennis Schroeder didn't play. You lose to OKC. I mean, you get embarrassed by OKC. You pull out a great win against the Timberwolves, and look, it's not going to be all doom and gloom on today's show. I know that is probably the easiest way to go about things, but we don't do things easy here when you're on with Allen Stiles. We're going to pull some positives, because there are some positives. You know, there might not be many, but there will be some, and the Oklahoma City Thunder game was not one of them. Going back to the Timberwolves game, that was. After that, you do a classic 2023-2024 Sacramento Kings special as they lose to the Portland Trailblazers in Portland, saying goodbye to whatever small NBA Cup wishes that they had. And after that, they follow that performance up with a loss at home, another classic 2023-2024 Kings performance by losing the first game at home after a road trip. Tell them what's up next, Johnny. Well, you got the Rockets, who you barely were able to beat last season. We remember them getting spanked a couple times. I was in Houston. I think De'Aaron Fox might have been out, or that was when Keon Ellis got an opportunity, the first time we saw Keon. But this ain't going to get easier. Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet just dropped, 35, 39, something like that last night as they do battle. They're second place right now in the West. Nobody is going to help you. Nobody is going to give you a life raft. You got to learn how to swim or you're going to drown. And the Kings right now, there's water leaving the boat. There's water leaving the boat. You're looking at Mike Brown. You're looking at Monty McNair. You're looking at the players, trying to figure out what is the issue. Let's see here. As we take a look at what the issue has been, they just refuse. And I mean refuse to guard the three-point line. 50% again. I'm not kidding you. I do think we could find a couple guys from Sac City, that basketball team from Sacramento State. We could cobble together a team, and they would shoot at least 35% from 3 against the Kings. That's how bad it is. And it's the same thing over and over again. Our rotations are late. We're switching when we're not supposed to be switching. We need to be more aggressive. Here's my issue with the whole aggressive thing. This is Mike Brown's thing now. He keeps on talking about we have to be more aggressive with the game plan. We have to be more aggressive with the game plan. And you keep saying the same things, and they can't figure it out. Now, you know how I am with my love of baseball. I'm going to equate this to a baseball player, a hitter. If you have a hitter and the hitter struggles against the curveball, right? And you keep telling this hitter, hey, you got to stay back on the curveball. Hey, you got to read the curveball early. Hey, you got to know the counts when you're going to see a curveball. You have to be able to hit a curveball to play baseball at a high level. You have to be able to do that. And no matter what you try to tell this hitter, he's out in front, he's swinging through it, he's rolling over, he just can't do it. At some point, you just sit there and you say, maybe this guy can't hit a curveball. And if you can't hit a curveball, you're not a very good hitter. Maybe this collection of players cannot guard the three ball and cannot defend appropriately against the three ball. Mike Brown can sit there and say it as many ways as he wants to. And I'm not saying Mike Brown doesn't have some responsibility in this as well, because maybe it is a locker room conversation. Has he lost it? I don't know. But we keep hearing the same things over and over. If you can't guard the three-point line and you keep on emphasizing guarding the three-point line, maybe this collection of players can't get their act together to guard it. Because it's 50% from three-point, okay? 51.2% from the field. Now, we're going to hear from Mike Brown. We're going to hear from Malik Monk. They said, hey, that was the plan. The plan was to towards the end of that fourth quarter, when you saw Malik guarding Wembanyama, it looked like when I'm walking out of here as Jason Ross and Carmichael Dave are leaving because of the height difference. That's how bad it was. When you see Malik guarding Wembanyama and these guards guarding Wemby, that was actually the plan. That was the plan. Okay, cool. So the other part of the plan was to give up twos, all right, to Wemby, let Wemby cook inside the arc, and make sure that the Devin Vassell and dudes like that aren't cooking from three. Unfortunately, they didn't do the second part of that act. Let's see. Champagne, 4 for 9 from three-point range, all right? You had Victor Wembanyama, 5 for 9 again. Why is it that every time the Kings play Victor Wembanyama, he turns into the guy that everybody thinks he's going to be 5 years from now? He just gets into a time capsule, and after the time capsule, he gets out, and he's Victor Wembanyama at 24, 26 years old, and he's able to do everything that you think he's going to be able to do. He had, like we said, 34 points, okay? He had 14 rebounds, 11 assists. This is crazy. Stephon Castle, rookie, starting, playing, 8 points. Chris Paul had 13. That might be the most disrespectful stat line here. You let Chris Paul get 13 points. He was 3 for 7 from three. That's how you know your three-point defense is trash. If Chris Paul can turn back the clock, he's in a time capsule going the other way. And he's taking it back to when he actually had hair, not that tattooed hairline, and he's with the Hornets or the Clippers. So that's what we're dealing with here. 3 for 4 from three-point range. Keldon Johnson, 17 points. Are you kidding me? 5 for 8 for 21 points from Devin Vassell. These dudes are coming off the bench. Just hot. So it's almost like, if you look at the breakdowns here, it's almost as if, and I know Victor Wembanyama balled, but Stephon Castle, 2 for 7 from three. It's almost as if the guards come in or the backup guys come in and the Kings think that they can take a break. Well, sorry, Kings, nobody's bench is as bad as yours. You actually have to guard the other team's bench players as well. You have to do that. So, Monty McNair, this ain't the draft, but you on the clock, brother. Mike Brown, this ain't the draft, but you on the clock, brother. De'Aaron Fox, this ain't the draft, but you're on the clock, brother. Okay, because De'Aaron Fox, 36 minutes, 23 points, 3 for 8 from three. Everybody's, oh my gosh, is De'Aaron going to leave? I would keep saying it. De'Aaron can leave if he wants. But you're going to have to look in the mirror at some point and say, okay, did I do enough? So De'Aaron can leave. He ain't going to be a number one somewhere else. So everyone, oh my goodness, is De'Aaron going to leave? He can leave. He's going to go somewhere that he believes has a better roster. He's going to go somewhere that he believes has better support. And I believe that he leaves. This will be the last time we talk about De'Aaron Fox as a pure number one. And by the way, I mean, there's already conversations about it with what Domantas Sabonis does every single night. Domantas Sabonis, 25 points. Just a ho-hum, 13 rebounds, his usual, 6 assists. Malik Monk finally gets a start. That was a cool thing. That was the cool thing about Malik Monk getting the start. He had 19 points. I thought Malik Monk played great. I thought he played great. Isaac Jones coming off the bench. I know the big issue was bench scoring, Look, you get 12 points from Isaac Jones. I think he played a great game. Keon Ellis with 8. And Dougie McBuckets didn't play. Jordan McLaughlin, I don't know what he did. I don't know what he did to Mike Brown, but Jordan McLaughlin can't get in the game. Kobe Jones can, though. 7 minutes, a -9, 0 points. He plays really hard, though. He does. I'm not being sarcastic. He does play hard. Keegan Murray, he still doesn't want to shoot. 9 field goal attempts. All right. I mean, everything is on the table today. I don't care how crazy. If you have, it feels like one of those infomercials. If you have been harmed by this radio show in the past and we said your take was crazy, call back in and let's see how crazy it sounds now. Because I don't think anything sounds crazy. You're 1-6 your last 7 games. You're 9-12 in the West. I think somebody said the best they can do, Anthony, you'll learn I'm not the best with math. The best they can do now is 47 wins. So if you had the Kings at 50 wins, a parlay out there in Reno, whatever, that's essentially cooked. Or maybe, I guess it's not cooked, but they would have to go on a heater that we have not seen them go on.
Yeah, I don't see this Sacramento Kings team being the greatest streaking team of all time.
It's the same. Yes, the Kings getting 50 wins, which a lot of people had just stamped in Sharpie, as did I. The Kings getting 50 wins, better chance. The Kings getting 50 wins or the Niners getting into the playoffs. That's the question right now. Because I wouldn't bet Monopoly money on that. Not on either. I am not collecting 200 and pass and go. I'm not doing it. All right, let's rock and roll. 4 hours, a lot of your calls. Does it feel like this group got enough time? Should we even bother talking about the injuries? And like I said, we're going to take a look on the bright side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Harbor Freight knows tool people like to keep busy. But with our Black Friday sale now through Monday, you'll want to free up some time. We're talking deals like our 5,000-watt generators under $800, 17-foot reach ladders for $99.99, and 40% off Icon Pro socket sets. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until 12/2/24. While supplies last. Limitations apply.
If you've been too busy to sign up for your health insurance plan, it's understandable. It's also why there's Health Markets. At healthmarkets.com, you can see the plans available to you and even speak to a licensed insurance agent. Just dial pound 250 and say Health Markets. They'll answer your questions, and when you're ready, even help you apply. Just dial pound 250 and say Health Markets. Getting your new health insurance plan could be easier than you think. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency nationwide except in Massachusetts.
Only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
We're going to get to the text as well as we break down all things Kings here. And if we have time towards the end of the show, some Niners as they got beat down. If you're Kings Niners, you got beat down. You got beat down. You got beat down yesterday. And at least you could blame the Niners on injuries. I mean, they weren't supposed to win that game, and they didn't. But the Kings, look, man, it's bad. And I'm going to get to the text, but some of the text coming in, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what I want. All right? I want to get crazy today. Crazier than Malik Monk starting, I'll tell you that much. 916 says the worst thing that can happen to a fan base is they lose interest. I'm losing interest. I'll tell you what, 916, that's the worst thing that can happen to me as well. That is the last thing I need. So they need to win some games here. I tell you what, at least they are not as boring as last season. Last season, at least you knew. And I'll give you a look into the bright side of things. I would say this. At least the bright side is that we didn't waste any time with this team stinking or thinking that they were good enough. Last season, that's exactly what happened. If they had done this last season, maybe Monty McNair and the crew, they do go out and get somebody. But last season, there was so much of, okay, are they going to go on a run? Are they going to go on a run? They were keeping their head above water, and then they eventually had some injuries at a terrible time after the trade deadline, and it sunk the whole ship. But as far as this Kings team is concerned, I would say the best thing about this situation is that it happened right now. We don't have to play these games and oh my goodness, are they going to get hot? We know this roster is not good enough. And I don't care that Kevin Huerter is injured. I hope he gets back soon, get well soon. I don't care that Trey Lyles is injured. I hope he gets well soon. Hope he gets back soon. They're not good enough with those guys. So you took a swing. You missed. Now let's figure out how to get back or how to get where you want to go. If you're in a relationship, wouldn't you rather, and people will say it all the time, hey, our politics are different. Hey, our stances on this are different. Let's not waste time. Let's just move on. Instead of trying to fight through something and you sending them Instagram reels of, hey, maybe this is why you should think this way or that way, and it's just never going to work. Let's just not waste each other's time. Wouldn't you rather that relationship end in 5 months rather than 5 years? You see, oh, okay, well, I thought it was going to work out. Didn't work out. Hey, God bless you. That's what we're seeing with these Kings. I don't see a world where this team figures it out. It gets to a point where it's, and I know someone, oh, well, the Celtics, they were 500 in January. Okay, you see Jason Tatum on this team? You see Jaylen Brown on this team? And the coaching as well. Let's keep it honest. But we can play that game. And I don't even believe that wasn't even the year they won it. That was the year they lost to the Warriors, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not saying everybody has to feel like this thing should get blown up, because I'm not even necessarily saying that it needs to be blown up. I'm saying that this group needs to change in some capacity. And when I say this group, that's everybody involved besides ownership. That's what I'm saying when I'm saying this group. I'm not saying the roster needs. I'm not saying to blow it up. I'm just saying that you can't keep doing this. Isn't that the definition of insanity? 916-339-1140. Of course, TC is going to kick us off, because when I said Kings Niners, oh my goodness, TC, a rough Sunday fun day for you. What's up, TC? How you doing?
What's up, man? Hey, listen, we gonna go Kings, but listen. Talk a little bit about the Niners. This is to all the Niner fans, bro. I'm going to ask you guys a simple question, right? Because I told you I'm going to just kick back and let the season play how it play out, right? Do you guys want Shanahan or Jim Harbaugh? Simple as that, bro. It's Harbaugh. Give Harbaugh's tenure. With Shanahan's tenure, instead of firing him, we would have had maybe 2 rings already. Come on, man. Let's stop playing with this dude, man. It's time to move on. I've been trying to tell everybody, but now everybody's starting to see it and come along slow. You still got some people, oh, I'm not ready to fire Shanahan. That's just people in denial. Like when you're in a relationship, Allen, you're like, man, my wife done cheated on me 10 times. But wait a minute, man. Hold on. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. It's time to move on. It's time to move on, bro. And let's quit making up excuses for this guy when he's the main problem. You get me? Everybody want to dance around the problem. And, oh, Nick Sorsen. But you know what? I'm not going to babble on about the Niners because I can spit straight facts and we can talk all day. Kings. This is on Monty McNair, Allen. Mm-hmm. We got to make moves, man. This ain't got Mike trying to get the team together. He started Malik Monk. We got to shoot threes. Guys got to shoot, man. Keegan's on the table now, y'all. Yeah. Period. I've been backing up Keegan, Allen, and all that. He's on the table, bro. We got to move forward. That's however we move from here. But Keegan's on the table, in my opinion. That's all I got.
Thanks for the call, TC. I love TC because he'll say, I'm not going to spend more time. I'm not going to spend time on the Niners. Ends up talking about the Niners more than the Kings. But look, Keegan Murray is going to be, and we love you, TC. You know we do. Keegan Murray is going to be a topic of conversation moving forward. And I'm not really sure where I fall on it right now. I would say this, though. Everything, like TC said, Keegan Murray's on the table because I feel like everything is on the table. It's not a Keegan Murray thing. I just feel like when you handle or don't handle business the way they are not handling business, and Keegan Murray isn't necessarily helping. This is the. I was talking to somebody last night, right at the game, and they said, "Hey, well, Keegan Murray, his defense and his rebounding, but his offense, that's struggling, but his other stuff is good. And you know what that reminded me of? It reminded me of when you go to a restaurant and somebody does a good burger, a really good burger. Now, you know that restaurant will always be there for you because you can always use a good burger. But you want to find a restaurant that can also do a really good ribeye, or that restaurant has the best prime rib in town. A lot of places can do a good burger. So that's how I look at Keegan Murray and his rebounding and defense. You can find dudes that can rebound and defend. Can you find a dude that can rebound, defend, and score? And right now, Keegan Murray is not that guy. So until he becomes that guy, he is a good restaurant with a good burger, but not really anything else. That's what he is right now. When we were sold a bill of goods that this guy is 5-star, a Michelin star restaurant, you can get a burger, you can get some seafood, you can get a prime rib. And that's not what he is right now. He's a good burger. He's a solid burger. 916-339-1140. Let's go to Lawrence. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Lawrence? We're on with Allen Stiles. What you got for us?
Well, I wanted to weigh in on the Kings. I want to make a comparison also to a baseball analogy, and that is when I was growing up, I'm an old guy, the San Francisco Giants in the late 60s, early 70s, they had superstars. They had Willie McCovey, Willie Mays, Bobby Bonds. I mean, you could go on. Juan Marichal, Gaylord Perry. And yet they could never, they had a winning record, but they could never really win the big one. They did go to the playoffs in 1971, and they lost to the Pirates in the first round there, but they just never really did anything with that superstar team. And I'm thinking the Kings could be like that. I mean, if they don't change, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. I just, they just can't make their buckets.
Yeah.
I think that the guarding the 3-point, obviously. And then when they do get these open threes, like I think I forget which game it was, but Murray had 3 or 4 perfect open shots and he misses them. And these guys even miss layups a lot. I just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss like everyone else.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Lawrence. I don't even know if the Kings were as talented as those Giants teams, to be completely honest with you. You look at De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis and where they rank in the pantheon of the elites, and I think in Sacramento we want to put them somewhere, but you got to win games. And look, going back to the De'Aaron Fox thing or Domantas Sabonis, I think that there are a couple options that you can play with, and we're going to talk about that in the 11 o'clock hour, but everybody also needs to look in the mirror. Everybody needs to look in the mirror. Again, the worry about De'Aaron Fox leaving or whatever it is, if De'Aaron's putting up 30, 35 a game and they're losing, the meme where it's that, what is it, a Ferrari or Lamborghini in the trailer park? And they said, that's De'Aaron Fox and the Kings. We're not necessarily seeing De'Aaron doing that. So it's a lot clunkier than I think just, wow, this guy is cooking. Get him out. It's not like Kevin Love on the Timberwolves. It's not like, we need enough help for Giannis or he's going to get out of here. De'Aaron is not putting up otherworldly numbers every single night. He had that great stretch. So everybody needs to hold themselves accountable, including De'Aaron. The whole thing is on the table. And if you do think he's going to move, maybe you beat him to the punch. All right, let's hear from Malik Monk on starting and the problems that the Kings have had on the other side. More of your calls, more of your texts. The text line is on fire as they are finally done fighting Dave. I got to read through those every morning I come in. Allen Stiles here, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health, and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers, too. Consultation's free, and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
What would it take for a plumbing company to earn your trust? Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And let's face it, plumbing and service companies don't always have the best reputation.
So to earn your trust, the first thing they'd have to do is actually answer the phone when you call with a real live person. Then they'd have to send a plumber when you needed them, day or night, without charging extra for emergency services.
A trustworthy plumber would show up on time, wearing a clean uniform and name badge, and be able to show that they had passed a background check and drug test.
A plumber you could trust would give you a firm quote on the job before starting and clean up after they finish the job.
That's exactly the plumber you'll get when you call Bell Brothers. A plumber you can trust. Call Bell Brothers right now for all your plumbing needs. Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
I always approach the holidays with a sense of excitement and a time to be with family. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa for Naturewood Home Furnishings. For me, the best times were when there were 3 generations all celebrating together. Today, we're the grandparents, and the holiday spotlight shines on my grandson. And I hope he'll remember holidays the way his papa does. Right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings will help you create your own kind of holiday memories during their holiday home sale. Unique gifts found only at Naturewood, like hall trees, curios, chairside tables, and more, are available at savings of 20% off. During Naturewood's holiday home sale, you'll find savings all around the store for every room in your home. Find your perfect bit of Christmas for your home at Naturewood Home Furnishings Holiday Home Sale, going on right now. The memories you make with your family will live with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
6 million ways to mob. Choose one.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. If you're just now joining, Anthony is in for us, Sacramento native, who is behind the boards. Everybody say hi to Anthony when you call in. We've already had a couple calls so far, and we are going to continue this Kings conversation as the 916 UPS Chris. Dang it, Allen, now you're making me hungry. Kings killing me. Raiders at least understand the assignment. Yeah, so we were comparing Keegan Murray to different types of restaurants and how we thought Keegan was going to be a 5-star restaurant where you can get everything, right? It turns out right now Keegan is a solid restaurant with a good burger. But if you want lobster, if you want ribeye, if you want a prime rib, you're probably going to have to go somewhere else. And it doesn't mean that the chef can't improve and become a 5-star chef eventually, but right now. And the Kings are in a tough situation where their timelines aren't really matching up, I think, as well as they thought they would. Let's get to this Malik Monk audio. And this starts about him starting. And I also wanted to continue on. It's about a couple minutes here as he talks about the problems that the Kings have had. Because I do think Malik is always somebody who keeps it real. He dropped an F-bomb at the beginning of at the beginning of his presser, because that's just how he feels right now. And he does highlight some of the things we're seeing. I'm still trying to figure out, how do you fix it? Here he is.
Malik, you get your first start in a Kings uniform here. Bittersweet for it to end this way.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, definitely wanted to win, but thankful I got my first start here. Took me 3 years, but I'm here now, so hopefully it could continue. But yeah. bittersweet for sure.
Malik, you guys are 5-5 on the road, but you just dropped to 4-7 at home. Why is the energy not the same as it is on the road here in this building?
That's a good question, man. I feel like the energy was there to start off today. But like I say, we just have too many mental breakdowns, man. Whether that's we double when we don't supposed to double, we switch when we don't supposed to switch, or we don't switch when somebody calls a switch and that gives open a wide open three, or it just the dominoes falls and we in rotation now. So we just playing catch up after that. So like I say, man, we too many mental breakdowns.
Yeah, Malik was going to ask about some of that switching. Obviously, Wemby puts teams in a pretty tough spot. Like you ended up switching on him a lot at the end there. What challenges does he present, and how much of it did you feel like was miscommunication stuff?
The miscommunications come with the wide open threes they get, not with Wemby scoring in the post or taking us down there, because that was a game plan. It's Wemby now. He 8 feet. he gonna do whatever he wants. And you got to live with it sometimes. But it's just those threes, those wide open threes that we give up that shouldn't happen.
There he is. So Malik Monk was basically highlighting that the plan was to let Wemby cook within the 3-point line. That was the plan. So everything that we saw towards the end of the game, they were willing to live with that. They were just supposed to not also allow the 3-point shooters to get hot and do their thing. The problem is they didn't stop anything. They did not stop anything. They continued to let Wemby cook, as we saw some ridiculous looking switches in the post. But then also, as Malik Monk said, you're switching when you're not supposed to be switching. You're rotating too late. You're doing things you're not supposed to be doing. So Malik Monk, and I do think it's a great point, and the part about Malik Monk starting, we'll get to a little bit later. I think it's great. And Mike Brown did confirm that it's going to continue for the time being. They're trying to get over the hump in some way. So that's great to see for Malik, and we're happy for him. You got to win games, though. But as far as Malik Monk is highlighting, they have the assignments. And that's why the Mike Brown thing is interesting to me. Because when you have a conversation about whether or not something is working or whether or not the scheme is correct, you're being told, or he's telling us what the plan is. And they're just not executing the plan. So then you have two options from that. It's either the players aren't good enough to execute the plan, or they're for some reason not listening to the person that is giving them the plan to execute. And that would be Mike Brown. But again, it's hard for me to sit there and see and hear what Malik Monk is saying and then hear Mike Brown saying they're not executing the game plan and say Mike Brown's got to go. Unless your argument is that they are just not. So what would be the difference? Is it just if he lost the locker room, is it now just, hey, we're going to bring in somebody else and they're going to say the same exact thing, but it's just going to hit different? Because that's the voice conversation. Because it doesn't sound like Mike Brown is asking them to do anything ridiculous. I feel like whenever we see the Kings and whatever defense they're cooking up, similar teams do similar things. Everybody switches a bunch. I know I hate it too, but that's what they do. Every team switches a lot. But there comes to a point where it's, okay, well, when you're switching and you only got 2 good defenders out there and you're switching everything, so chances are one of those 3 lesser defenders is going to get paired up against somebody that can do something offensively, because that's what other teams hunt. What is Mike Brown supposed to do to that? So I'm not saying he's not responsible for any of it. I'm just saying, okay, let's get in another coach with the same exact roster who's telling them very similar things. Are they just going to listen more? I mean, is it like back in the day where your parents would tell you something and you didn't listen because it's your parents and you're hearing the same thing, but then your cool uncle or a family friend tells you something similar? Hey, man, you need to get your grades up. You know, you want to play in college, you got to get your grades up. Yeah. You know, you hear from your dad or your mom. Yeah, I know. You hear from your uncle. That's just the cool uncle. He's a couple years younger, whatever it is. Now all of a sudden you listen. Is that it? I don't know. All I know is I don't think that he is, I don't think that he's saying anything that is ridiculously different than what other teams or what other coaches would be saying. So maybe it is a voice thing. Maybe it is. From the 916, let's get to the text line now. Something drastic needs to change with our defensive schemes, that's for sure. Brown needs to hold himself accountable and do something totally different, like his job depends on it. That's from Folsom Mike. So I guess now Wemby is a tough case because, again, he balls out against the Kings. But in this situation, if it's, hey, we don't want guys like Devin Vassell going off and Stephon Castle going off from three. If Wemby wants to turn into an actual big for the duration of this game, we will give him that. Very similar to, and I don't think they expected him to score 60, but honestly, it's pretty similar to when the Kings lost to the Timberwolves and De'Aaron dropped all those points. We've seen this before. I believe the Timberwolves said, hey, we are not going, De'Aaron can't score 100. He got close, but De'Aaron can't score 100. De'Aaron, he can cook and do whatever he wants. We can't let the other guys get hot. So it was a version of that. The problem is the Kings didn't do either. So I would say to Folsom Mike, again, I think that's a plan that you would probably see other teams go about. Now, that's specific to the Spurs thing. We have 3 games to go over. So we haven't even talked. The more troubling loss, in my opinion, was the Blazers' loss. That's the most troubling loss out of the last couple here, and there's too many to count. So if we want to have a conversation about just the defensive schemes as a whole, cool. Now tell me how many elite defenders are on the team. Because I saw Keegan Murray, who's the elite defender. I saw him get bodied last night. De'Aaron Fox is not an elite defender. Keon Ellis is going to be there, but Keon Ellis is in second year in the league. So I'm trying to figure out, again, how much of it is Mike Brown. And this is me actually trying. I'm not saying, hey, it's not Mike Brown. I'm saying you give a guy a team with 2 good defenders, how good are they going to be on defense? What scheme is going to help that? I'm not sure. That's what we're all sitting here trying to figure out right now. I do know this. You better figure out something, because that voice thing where it's, hey, your cool uncle's going to say something instead of your parents, and let's see how you hear it. That voice thing is real, because a lot of times you would listen to your uncle. So, or your aunt, whoever it was, or your older cousin. So at the same time, you continue to have those same conversations. Maybe it is a voice thing. I've always thought of Mike Brown as a player's coach. Maybe it's not as much as we think, or maybe the team's just not good enough. And that's why during the crosstalk, Carmichael Dave had a lot more to say as far as the moves that they could make about Monty McNair versus Mike Brown. Not to mention Mike Brown, his extension hasn't even kicked in yet. So those are the things we're trying to figure out. We will hear from Mike Brown. As you know, we like to play the first. We like to play the first words that he says after the game for the post-game presser. So we will play that on the other side. Then we get back to your calls, your texts, your Sack Chat. Shout out to the Sack Chat as well. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Christmas music is everywhere. The smell of gingerbread is in the air. And wait, what's that sound? It's Santa. He's headed back to Sacramento for the 41st Annual Santa Parade, December 14th in downtown Sacramento. Bring your entire family to the parade route around the Capitol for over 100 floats, including marching bands, pageant princesses, clowns, horses, and of course, Santa himself.
The 41st Annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 14th, with Western Health Advantage, Gurnick Academy, and the California Army National Guard. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Get more info at sacktownsports.com.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime forcing, layoffs on the line. Call Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or ProDesk for details.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before December 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 15th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
Ba, 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 ba. Yep, 'tis the season. Hey, if you take pride in your gift giving, here's a great idea for you. Gift cards from the Good Feet store. Okay, so arch supports aren't exactly what they've been hinting for, but you know they'd love them. And with the Good Feet lifetime warranty, it's a gift they'll enjoy forever. Buy a Good Feet gift card now, and Good Feet will boost its value 20%. That's a 20% gift from the Good Feet store. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville, and in Reno on South Virginia Street.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
This holiday season, create a fun and joyful memory for you and your loved ones. Come light the world and help those in need through the Giving Machine, November 16th through January 1st at the Westfield Galleria Mall in Roseville and in Modesto at Valley Fair Mall. Choose from local charities serving your community or from global charities worldwide. Come feel the Christmas spirit at the Giving Machine. Learn more at givingmachine.greatersacramentomodesto.org.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Almost done with the 10 o'clock hour. Calls already coming in. We're going to open back up the phone lines, 916-339-1140, and get to the texters as well. But we are going to play right now what Mike Brown had to say after the Spurs lost. A little later in the show, we have the sound from after the Blazers lost, where he was a lot more fiery. This one, it almost feels like he's a little broken down in a way. He gets in the weeds a little bit. But again, a lot of people have things to say about Mike Brown. So I feel like it's only right to, at least if you haven't heard it, and if you have, give you another listen to how he is reacting after these losses, what his message is to the team, and how they're trying to get where they want to go. Here it is.
There's two areas that we weren't good in, and one was our game plan, especially in the first half. We allowed them to get going from the three-point line because we didn't execute the game plan, and then when we tried to execute it, it wasn't with aggression. And because of it, they hit some threes. And it's with our reds. We were supposed to red pick and rolls. We were supposed to red DHOs tonight. But in the first half, when we did red, we didn't control the screener, especially pick and rolls. And then if I'm guarding a hot guy, I started to cheat the red early. So I started to drop and anticipate the red. And Wemby and the Vessel, they just stopped behind the DHO, or they stopped behind the pick and roll and knocked down threes. And once they got the confidence, it was hard to turn the faucet off from the 3-point line. And I got to continue trying to find ways to help our guys in situations like that. And, calling timeouts, telling them to do it a little bit better. We did. But at the end of the day, maybe we need to, maybe I need to change something for them. Also, I thought our fouling was unfortunate. We had 3 or 4 plays, particularly at the end of the third. We had 2 or 3 turnovers at the end of the third quarter and a foul, I think 90 feet away from the hoop, that just changed the whole momentum of the game. And you have to keep your head in to the game at all times and not get frustrated with a call by the official and compound mistakes that were already made. And we just fell apart at the end of that quarter. And then we started fouling from there, which got them into the bonus at about the 9-minute mark. And you can't have a team in the bonus at the 9-minute mark if it's going to be a 1 or 2 possession game, because now it puts a lot of pressure on your defense and you can't be as physical as you want to be on that end of the floor. So we have to do a better job with our fouling, especially in the backcourt. And then lastly, I thought we did a great job keeping them off the glass until the last 2 minutes. They ended up with 8 offensive rebounds, but maybe 5 of them, and I'm over exaggerating, but 3, 4 of them came in the last 2.5 minutes. And, when you got a guy like Wemby, especially at the free throw line, when you got an opportunity to have it be a 1-possession game, you got to bring a sense of physicality to him. You got to pinch him with 2 guys and pinch him early. And we did not do our job on that particular play, and that's why he ended up getting an offensive rebound and tempted it back. So we as a group have to do what our job is to the highest degree. We have to be locked in and do our job to the highest degree, no matter how small or big it is, because these small opportunities to help the team win, if you overlook them as easily as we're doing right now, it will compound into a loss. And that's what happened tonight, because I give our guys credit. We had 24 fast break points, so we played fast the way we wanted to. We hit the offensive glass like we wanted to at 18 second chance points. We shot 47% from the field. We scored 125 points in regulation. But it was the little things that add up. The fouling in the backcourt, not putting a body in front of a man when he's dribbling and about to shoot a 3 at the end of a quarter, 2 or 3 self-inflicted turnovers at the end of a quarter, fouling 3 or 4 times at the start of the fourth quarter, so they're in the bonus at the 9-minute mark, and then not boxing out. On top of that, not following the game plan aggressively with some aggression. And again, it's a little thing. You follow the game plan, but you got to bring some aggression and some feel to it. But we have to do a better job collectively with that, and it starts with me.
The main theme that you continue to hear as far as Mike Brown is concerned is aggression. Be more aggressive. It's a passive team. They don't get in your face. And besides Jay Crowder chirping with Julius Randle, that's a beef that went that it predates the time in Sacramento. But we keep hearing the same things. You got to be aggressive. You got to do this. You got to do that. And that was a big question about bringing in somebody like DeMar DeRozan, because DeMar DeRozan is a cool cat. He's pretty chill dude. And this team is probably too chill. That's been kind of the issue. You have Keegan Murray, who a lot of people say they see a version of Harrison Barnes, and each and every day that statement, unfortunately, gets more and more true. All right, because let's not act like Harrison Barnes wasn't someone who had an extremely high ceiling. You can make the argument both of them coming out of college, Harrison Barnes may have been looked at maybe a little bit higher than Keegan Murray. You know, Harrison Barnes and what he did trying to getting to UNC. So let's not act like Harrison Barnes was initially, somebody that a lot of people didn't look at like he could be a real dude in this league. Let's not forget that at all. All right. He's the number one player coming out of the 2010 class. He was drafted with the 7th overall pick. So yeah, a little lower than Keegan, but Harrison Barnes is supposed to be that dude. And he probably was viewed as somebody that could come out of UNC with a higher pick. But again, all right, we're trying to see more. So you have Keegan Murray, you have De'Aaron Fox, who can get fiery at times. You have Domantas Sabonis, same thing. You know, he just a little bit limited in what he can do. You have DeMar DeRozan, who is cool as a cucumber. That's just who he is. And then you have, kind of a revolving door at that last position. Right now it's Malik Monk, and he's fiery. So this is the confusion for me. If everybody understands that they're not doing their job, how do you get them to do their job? That's what I'm stuck at. That's why this thing has to take a look back at Mike Brown. Because if Malik is, and I don't even know if the guys would agree with that, but if Malik is sitting there telling you, yeah, we just didn't do the game plan. We knew what it was. We just didn't do it. And Mike Brown is telling, yeah, well, that wasn't the game plan. We'll literally go through things. They just sound undisciplined. They sound like the Rockets a couple years ago. They sound like they're a young team and they're not a young team. So is it Mike Brown or is it the leadership? Is it De'Aaron Fox? Is it Domantas Sabonis? Is it DeMar DeRozan? Who is it? Who is the issue? Because they all seem to understand what they're supposed to be doing. They're just not doing it.
And you can see it in the game.
You can see it.
Like you watch them play the game and you can watch them be confused on defense. It's horrible. And at the end of the game, they're like, yeah, we were confused.
I don't understand that. So to me, are the schemes, to go back to Folsom Mike and what he said, is the issue that the schemes are too confusing? They don't sound terribly confusing to me, but it's something, if you're not good at math and somebody puts a pretty basic multiplication problem in front of you, that's going to be tough, right? So maybe it's a matter of he needs to simplify things because his team isn't good enough. I don't know. I don't know. But it does not feel like what he is saying is completely groundbreaking. And nobody else has ever thought of anything that he's doing, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, you need to simplify this. Simplify. De'Aaron Fox is looking to get a Supermax. Simplify. You Domantas Sabonis getting paid a lot of money. Simplify. This is DeMar DeRozan's last go. Simplify. You trying to tell us Keegan Murray's taking a Kawhi leap. What you trying to simplify? So so that's why the conundrum of Mike Brown is so complex, because it does not seem like what he is saying is out of control and crazy. But if you just are not able to comprehend it and not able to understand it and cannot execute, then maybe it's an issue. Maybe it's an issue. All right. Let's talk about the next pass for the Kings. We have 3 options. Let me know if I'm forgetting one. And then throughout the 11 o'clock hour, we will break down that options. We want to continue to get crazy. I saw some Keegan Murray shouts on the text line. I'm going to read those. We have some conversations that have been happening on Twitter. I'm going to read those. Sack chat as well. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Christmas music is everywhere. The smell of gingerbread is in the air. And wait, What's that sound? It's Santa. He's headed back to Sacramento for the 41st Annual Santa Parade, December 14th in downtown Sacramento. Bring your entire family to the parade route around the Capitol for over 100 floats, including marching bands, pageant princesses, clowns, horses, and of course, Santa himself.
The 41st Annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 14th with Western Health Advantage, Gurnick Academy, and the California Army National Guard. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Get more info at sacktownsports.com.
Hey, what's up, Sacramento? It's Kyle Draper. Turn up the cleanliness at your restaurant, healthcare, or industrial business with Alsco Uniforms, the official sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew. We've got you covered with crisp uniforms, hygienically clean linens, floor mats, and of course, mops delivered weekly. But that's not all. Alsco Uniforms also offers weekly services for first aid and restroom supplies. Discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Just go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's alsco.com.
At Makita, good enough is never enough. Anyone can throw in a stronger motor, but it takes precision to find that balance of power, performance, and longevity. We obsess over every detail. We design, test, redesign, and do it all over again to create tools that'll keep going with you from project to project, job site to job site, year after year. If it's not right, don't put your name on it. Makita, available at the Home Depot.
You've heard the saying, penny wise, pound foolish, right? It means you do something that will save you a little bit right now, just pennies, but that ends up costing you pounds in the end.
People put off tuning up their furnace because they don't want to take the time or spend the money to get it done.
But it only takes 90 minutes and costs just $87, which is just pennies compared to the huge problems and expenses that can rack up if you don't get your furnace tuned up.
You'll also save money on your energy bills, and your system will last longer.
So don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Call Bell Brothers for a precision tune-up and professional cleaning today.
Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high-hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's the Black Friday Sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. Get low finance rates, including 0% and 0 down deals on approval of credit right now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, over 35 years in the Folsom Auto Mall, and tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you. FolsomLakeFord.com.
KHD-KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacramento's official home of the 49ers.
San Francisco.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. For 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
One hour down, 3 to go. 3 to go. Anthony, how was your holiday?
It was great, you know. I was actually here. I worked both the Black Friday Kings game and I worked the Thanksgiving football games in here. So I brought some food from home, hung out with my family in the morning, and then spent Thanksgiving in the studio.
Look at you. The grind don't stop.
Definitely.
There you go. Real quick, if anybody that follows me on social media did see this, but so I had a show I was going to on Wednesday. After this show, I was going to see a guy, Leon Thomas, very talented singer. The show was great. Real quick, the story is I got stuck on Amtrak. I had a 3:55 train, and that I Street Bridge closure, I was stuck on Amtrak for 2 hours.
I read about that.
I was stuck on Amtrak for 2 hours. It just didn't move. And the guy was so chill at first. Hey, y'all, they got the bridge is closed, so we gotta, we gotta wait till it opens. 2 hours later, the next Amtrak group, they start coming on. They start looking to try to sit with people. This is a 2-hour train, so the show starts at about 8 o'clock. So I had to get off the train. They gave me my money back. I took a $100 Uber to Richmond BART and then BARTed into the city from there. That's how I kicked off the holiday weekend.
I've had a similar situation with Amtrak. I've done a very similar thing. My Amtrak actually got stuck in Dixon, and I had to take an Uber back here. I was trying to go to the city as well. It was
not
Amtrak
good.
Just does that.
Apparently, this I Street Bridge is terribly old and needs update. I don't know. All I know is it got to about 5:30, and I said, "All right." I got to do something. And I felt bad for the Uber driver. He did not care at all. Didn't say one word. It was great. And yeah, it was a shaky start, but the Kings actually won that night. Only win out of the Thanksgiving weekend. So, it ended up being weirdly maybe the best night as far as a night where the Kings also played, because they did not get it done against the Blazers, and they did not get it done last night against the Spurs. So now the question is, what's next? Everybody asking, what's next? What's next for the Kings? So as I look at it, and Carmichael Dave, he essentially added a fourth avenue during crosstalk. But how I look at it is like this. These are the paths for the Kings. And 916-339-1140. If you hear a path that rings true to you that you want the Kings to do, call on in or text on in or Sack Chat on in on YouTube. Be a part of that community. It's growing every single day. So the number one option here is an OKC type full-blown blow-up where you move off of Sabonis, you move off of Fox, you move off of DeRozan, you get a King's ransom of picks and young assets. You probably stink, but hopefully you follow the OKC model and you're good in, 5 years, something like that. So that's the first model that I see. The second model would be a version of, or really the other two would be two versions of tweaking, right? The first version would be trading the young pieces, where you would trade a Keegan Murray, a Devin Carter, get some ready now players, which, to be honest, probably would require you to still move a Kevin Huerter or still move a Trey Lyles because of the money situation. These young dudes aren't making any money. But that would be another option. The third option, and this is just roster-wise, right? Carmichael Dave included non-roster moves, which we can talk about as well. The third option would be trading some of the big pieces. So that would be, hey, DeMar, didn't work out. Let's send you to a contender. Sabonis, thank you for your service. Let's send you to a contender. Hey, De'Aaron, we know you're thinking about getting the extension and you wanted to see how things would go. Not going great. Let's send you elsewhere and get a bunch of picks and then move forward with really the other two guys. So Anthony and I were talking in the pregame and in the pre-show and just trying to figure out what would make the most sense for the Kings. And then you have the non-roster moves, which would be moving off of Mike Brown and moving off or moving off of Monty McNair. So the 916, someone is chiming in right now. They want number one. They want the full blow up. What scares me about the full blow up is, number one, it takes a very long time. And as Kings fans, you know how tough it is to go through those stretches, right? And number two, you also don't know when it's going to end. OKC, there've been plenty of models. Remember, trust the process. Did trust the process work? I don't know. If trust the process is get to the playoffs and be a threat, I guess it worked. But when I heard trust the process, I thought the Sixers were trying to win a championship.
Definitely. I think that's what everyone thought. And I think that's what they meant when Joel Embiid tweeted that in 2016 or whatever it was. I think that the goal is a championship. If you're going to rebuild, you have to think about, will my front office make moves that will actually make us better in a timely manner.
Yeah.
That's a really important thing. And you also have to think about what the value is of our current assets. And right now, we just don't know what that is. It's so early into a season. We've been talking about Keegan a lot, and we don't even know what Keegan's value is to other people, because our front office clearly thinks Keegan is amazing, and rightly so. But it's about what the market sees, and it's the same thing with DeMar DeRozan. If you're going to get rid of DeMar DeRozan, who in 2024 wants DeMar DeRozan right now for like as much as the Kings want DeMar DeRozan?
And what are you looking for? We were talking about, and we'll get into this. We're going to break down throughout the 11 o'clock hour each plan and what the best version of that plan would look like. But we played with DeMar DeRozan to the Magic because they need shooting, but do they want 3-point shooting? Right? I mean, Paulo Banchero gets back. He's he's been a stud. But you got Paulo, Franz. Hey, do you want to just score? They got KCP. Do they need DeMar DeRozan if they have KCP? So where these guys would fit? Okay, the Heat and De'Aaron Fox. Some of these guys some of these teams that have come up. What makes the most sense? Sabonis is probably the most confusing one because. Is somebody going to want Sabonis to come in and do what he's done on the Kings, or do they want a better version of Domantas Sabonis on the Pacers, where he wasn't the same? I do want to give a shout out to Rob Bishop on the Sack Chat, who is not really worried about the Kings. There's been a lot of chats, so I can't get through all of them, but essentially he is somebody out there that thinks the Kings can turn it around. There just needs to be some tweaking made, and you just got to hit the 3-ball more. So not everybody out there wants to blow the whole thing up. 916 says fire the GM first and foremost. So what would you do? What would you do after that? You fire the GM this season. You're going to bring in another GM, and then that GM is going to want to stand pat during this season, or is that GM going to come in and clean house? Right? That's what I'm curious about. You move off of Monty McNair right now. You're going to bring in another GM or promote someone in-house, and then they're going to blow everything up. I don't know about that. Or on the other side, do you trust Monty McNair to make any more moves? That's the tough thing about firing Monty McNair right now, because you got to give the other person some grace, and I don't think the Kings have time for that. Torrance York on the Sack Chat says it's been 21 games. They are 3 games under with 61 games remaining, and people are in full-blown panic mode. Monty needs to get some length and size on this team. It's still too early to blow up. So here's my issue with that, Torrance York, and I'm not saying to blow it up. My issue is your last statement. Monty needs to get some length and size on this team. It's still too early to blow up. That's kind of an oxymoron, because I'm not really sure how you get the length and size. Like we said, we just saw they got Jay Crowder. So what are you willing to give up that doesn't blow it up? And do not say Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles, because at the same time, fine. That's the new Toyota Corolla package. Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, you're not getting back what you need. You're not getting back the length and size on the team that I know that you think the Kings need. That is the issue with this situation. That's the issue. You can say don't blow it up and then say we need to add some length and size. I don't know how they do that unless you're okay with Keegan Murray being moved. Is that it? Because that's where conversation is going to start. The Kings do not have a lot of assets, and everybody knows that. There's no secrets in the NBA. Ashley wants to be a part of the conversation, 916-339-1140. If you want to be part of the conversation. What's up, Ashley? How you feeling? What you got for us?
Well, I'm a little disappointed because I feel like a lot of times we look really good to start games or to end games, but we can't put it together for the full game. Mm-hmm. I was really, really, really liking what I saw in the first half. The second half, not so much. As far as what I think needs to be done with this team, I don't think it's time to blow it up, but I do think that we do need to make some adjustments. Mm-hmm. Honestly, how we go about that, though, I really, really am unsure. I think we need to add some more three-point shooting, and I think that we could use a little bit more length. if possible. But I know it's really hard to get that. I don't see a way that we're going to get it. But I think if we could add at least one of those two elements, we could still make a run into the postseason.
Thanks for the call, Ashley. Great stuff as always. Yeah, the bottom line is the Kings, there are moves that they can make. It's really a matter. My issue is they almost feel like they have too many problems to solve. They have a length issue. They have a bench issue. And you're not going to be able to solve all of it. So you almost need to prioritize the issues. What is the biggest issue on the Kings right now? And that would be my question to you as well, 916-339-1140. What is the biggest issue on the Kings right now? What's the one thing they need to solve? Because size, length, cool. Is one more person going to solve that? Because that's probably all they're going to be able to get. Real quick update on what Torrance had to say on the Sack Chat. He said he's definitely okay with packaging Keegan and Kevin Huerter and some picks for length and size. Okay, so Torrance is, I would say that is in the number two. That is a number two option. Trade the young pieces to tweak the roster a little bit. So we got a couple people talking about a full blow up, a couple people talking about trading the young pieces, and no one yet. Well, we always have somebody willing to trade the big pieces, and most of the time it's De'Aaron Fox. Real quick on what Ashley said though, just about the game last night. I felt the same way. I mean, they came out shot out of a cannon, right? And you had Malik, and the vibes are always so great. So, and then they just go completely left. They go completely left. So I think they were left over from one of the events that our other stations did, but in the garage downstairs, there were a bunch of monsters. Okay, so I got my hands on a couple sugar-free monsters, and you can hear me right now. Me off of monsters, kind of crazy. And my wife, you know, I'm putting them in the, I put them in the closet, and they're from emergencies only. And Baby Styles was freaking out, you know, and it's a long, somebody said that Saturday after Thanksgiving was the most Sundayest Saturday ever, and I agree. It just felt weird. But Baby Styles was just not feeling it. She's off the wall. She's crying. So I looked and I said, I got to hit the red button. I go to that monster, and I'm feeling good for about 45 minutes, and then the crash starts happening. And it feels like the Kings, all of them drink a monster before every game, and the first quarter looks completely different than the rest of the game. They're on this high. You got Scott Moak doing his thing. You got Fresh Hour doing his thing. Slamson's running around because they got rid of Royale. Everybody's feeling good. The dancers hitting it. And then the second, third quarter comes around, and once people are going to get their popcorn and hot dog, whatever it is, the Kings are looking around thinking, hey, where'd y'all go? We need you. No, you need to keep us going. We got to sit down at some point. We have to. And there's still people around the NBA when they go to games. I see the media section. I was in the media section last week, and they said, man, it was with the Nets. Man, this is a great environment. And the Kings, they do not know how to harness it. The fans are loud all day, every single game, all game long. And as soon as it dies down a little bit, or the Kings stop missing shots, they can't generate anything on their own. They're like that dude. Who's the guy from X-Men? He can't create fire. He can only harness it. That's what the Kings are. They cannot create their own energy. They need the fan base. And if for 1 second the fans are just kind of chilling, or they've been quiet because you've been trash, they can't do it. All right, let's break down the full-blown blow-up on the other side. And we got calls coming in, texts coming in as well. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown Sports.
Oh my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey Sacramento, it's Malik Monk, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy, and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Getting through these texts and calls and Sack chats. As everybody here, this is a support group. If the Kings have harmed you over the last, years now, but let's just keep it to the last couple days, you are entitled to get your 5 minutes on the phone and complain because, look, man, I'll tell you this much. We talked about Jay Crowder on this show. A couple days later, I think even a day later, Jay Crowder was signed. Malik Monk, been talking about this on the show. Malik Monk finally gets started. I'm not saying that Monty McNair and Mike Brown and even Mr. Vivek are listening. I'm just saying we don't know that they're not. I'm saying it's very interesting that these moves keep getting made as soon as we bring them up. We did #hardmedia, and a lot of people were chiming in. So your word matters. All right. From the 916, here's the real problem. I don't think this organization from top down has the guts to do a full blow up. So we're going to be stuck with this mediocre team forever. So at this point, I'm pretty much at the point where I just don't care. Wake me up when this team is relevant. And that is interesting. As Anthony here, Sacramento native, and a bunch of Sacramento Kings fans from birth calling in, chiming in. I think there is a business aspect to this where you got the Beam involved. The Beam is sponsored, and it's better to be competitive than do a full-blown blow-up. It is. You're making more money selling that, hey, we could get hot at some point than, this season, next season, there's no way those tickets can be the same price if they do a full-blown blow-up. You can get Cooper Flag in there. You can get a bunch of dudes. But there's at least 1 year where you start seeing what the price tag has become on merch and what the team is worth now. You're not trying to go back. You might have to eventually, but you don't want to go back. So I do think that there's part of it where ownership and the execs, everybody, they don't want to move off it because they believe that some fans or a lot of fans don't want to go back to where they were before as far as just being starting from scratch. And the other part of it is business-wise, I don't think they want to do that either because you're taking a chance on kids that are in like 8th grade right now or at least in high school, and you have no clue if it'll work out. We can all say in 1 year, we've gone from, hey, the Kings are the next Nuggets model to, hey, the Kings are the next OKC model. So we've even heard some people try to talk about the Celtics model. So you have to make some decisions. As far as the Nuggets model is concerned, look, man, and I don't have the numbers pulled up in front of me, but I did a lot of talking about Michael Porter Jr. I said that the Nuggets, they kind of shoehorned him into one position. They won a championship, and now he's a bit limited. Maybe they saw something, and look, maybe they just decided, hey, this is what he's going to be, and we got a championship out of it. We're not completely done, and he's really good at what he does. He doesn't do much, but we got that Harrison Barnes dull Swiss Army knife. You do not want the same thing to happen to Keegan Murray. Maybe it's better they make a decision. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Dwayne. Always has great stuff. What's up, Dwayne? What you got for us?
Hey, my man Styles, man. I see why everybody's up in an uproar, but I do think people got to calm down a little bit because you're really only one trade away.
Mm-hmm.
Even at this point, you're still one trade away. Your problem is you got Monty McNair out there in the office making the deals, bro, and he's on the late freight. what happens is when you miss your window, kind of like the 49ers, it can go bad quick. Because you had it right in front of you, but you didn't have the wherewithal, you didn't have the business sense to get it done. On top of the fact that McNair, he don't feel needs. I've been saying this for a long time, Styles. You know, I've been ahead of this. The wingspan, the length, helps with defense, shot blocking. It helps with a lot of things. And last night was a good example. At the end of the game, you guys were giving up offensive rebounds that killed you. Those offensive rebounds hurt, bro. If you had guys, if you had bigs, remember I wanted Edie in the draft. If you guys had bigs, that type of stuff doesn't happen. DeMar DeRozan is really a classic example of how these days twos don't beat threes.
Yeah.
That mid-range game, I mean, man, just ain't working in today's game as far as getting wins, because if he makes 10 twos, the other team makes 10 more threes, that's a -10 differential. And that's what's happening. They hit 13 more threes last night. We lost by 2 points.
Right.
We get buckets, but we can't stop nobody. So you're still just one trade away, but you're in trouble because McNair, he's just not that dude, man. Makes money and all that, but he ain't taking the team to the next level. So the last thing I want to say, Styles, is we screwed up. And I screwed up too, because you guys asked me, would you throw Keegan Murray in the deal for Laurie Marketing? And I was with you guys. I said no. And I messed that up big, because we should have. Because can you imagine the starting lineup right now? Fox, Monk, DeRozan, Laurie Marketing, and Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah.
So that's where we missed. But hey, man, like I said, one trade away. It's got to get some guards for some bigs. But anyway, man, I'm going to hit you up another day. Styles, man. Have a great day. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thanks. Same to you, Dwayne. Great stuff. Well, the other thing, too, is now the Keegan Murray conversation, and we were talking about this, Anthony, before the show. What do you do with Keegan's value, right? I mean, somebody said, great, so now we're going to sell low and buy high on someone, where, to Dwayne's point, I mean, I hate to say, oh, the Kings were in a tough spot. They kind of were, but it's your job to evaluate talent. You just watched Keegan Murray not be able to – here's the issue. You just watched Keegan Murray not be able to handle all the things that was asked of him in his second year. So that season happens. He plays on the USA Select team, gets a little bit of time off, and he's right back to where he was. You bring in DeMar DeRozan, who doesn't take anything off Keegan. So they basically said, no, we're not going to trade Keegan. We're going to continue to ask him to do this, and we're going to prove that Keegan can do all of these things. And they took a gamble, and right now it has not paid off for them. And now he's been a bit exposed right now as far as his value.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting. The Keegan Murray situation's weird because it's hard to be too hard on a third-year player 20 games into a season where he's being asked to bear the entire defensive load.
Yes.
And his usage is down on offense, obviously, when you have DeMar. But it also is a confidence thing, and I get people who think that Keegan is entirely down, because he is, but he's barely taking shots, and when he is, they're not going in. And it's really hard to say that we should trade someone who right now, in the eyes of the NBA, which I can only assume, I'm not in any front office, is nothing. Like, that is probably on par with like Kevin Huerter, which is also pretty low right now.
But and that wasn't the case this summer.
It wasn't
the case this summer. So you decided not to trade him, kept as much on his plate as he already had. It looked like a Thanksgiving plate, to be completely honest, and it's not working out. And now I think you're stuck. I think you have to build back up the value somehow, and I don't know how you do that with this roster.
You need to reevaluate. You can't do it with the roster as it is. I think everyone's in agreement that something needs to change, like we've been talking about this whole time. Whether you think that it all needs to blow up or not, something needs to change here. If you want to keep Keegan, then we need to change the defensive assignment and maybe try and get him a little bit more confident on offense.
Yeah.
Henry Turner was saying yesterday during the broadcast that it's hard to hype someone up as a coach. Keegan's someone that he saw as someone who needed to be hyped up, compared to a Malik Monk who needs to be calmed down sometimes. And it's harder to get someone's confidence back up rather than tell someone to calm down a little bit.
Right.
And Keegan's in a place right now where he needs to be hyped up. And it's a really hard thing to do from a coaching perspective. It's a really hard thing to do from a teammate's perspective. All we can hope for right now, in my opinion, from him is that shots start to fall right now. And tell him to shoot more. It's unacceptable how little he's shooting, in my opinion.
And you know what? When losses like this happen, and I got to be completely honest to everyone, when losses like this happen, there's a lot of time. There's not a lot of time. Mike Brown, normally he talks for about 2 minutes. We played that last audio. He talked for 5 minutes, and then you don't get those questions. You ask questions specifically about the game. Keegan Murray, he flew under the radar yesterday. There was no time to ask any questions because that's the question. What is being said to Keegan Murray? Real quick, Will, we see you. Rob, we see you. We see another call coming in. We got to get to it. Anthony is giving me the Dame Lillard. And speaking of Anthony, somebody on the text line from the 916, do we get any type of introduction? Don't know his voice. Sorry, 916, you must have just joined. I've been trying to tell everybody. Anthony from SAC is helping us out. He does a lot of great work with the Warriors games and producing for us, doing different things. And he is helping out today as Kyle is still in San Diego. So say what's up to Anthony from SAC, doing a great job for us. A lot of great information as we return on the other side. More of the conversation. All right, we talked about blowing the whole thing up. What about trading the young pieces? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, reminding you that every deal at Folsom Lake Ford is a slam dunk. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, including America's best-selling truck for over 47 years, Ford F-Series, plus a huge selection of Broncos, Bronco Sports, and all of Ford's award-winning SUVs at FolsomLakeFord.com. Listen, I know a great play when I see one, and if you want to save on a new Ford, you got to drive the lane straight to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest financing, and Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. So hurry to Folsom Lake Ford, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they're my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop them online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
What sets Ashton & Price apart from other injury law firms? I'll tell you. From beginning to end, all important legal decisions are made directly between our clients and their experienced local attorney. A gate agent flying the plane, the receptionist performing surgery, not a chance. There's simply no substitute for the unique power of the direct attorney-client relationship offered by Ashton & Price. And there's never a fee until we win, and between you and me, we win a lot.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system? You were a bit surprised at how much it cost, or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Top 100 PGA and LPGA teaching professional Kelly Stenzel offers a few tweaks for your short game, including putt whenever you can, chip when you can't putt, and pitch only when you have to. For small distance, small setup. Shorter shots require smaller swings. Grip the handle lower for less power, and a narrow stance will limit your backswing. For large distance, large setup. The farther you want to hit the wedge, the larger the swing needs to be. Full length on the grip and a wider stance create more power. And posture is key for contact and loft. See that your short game posture reflects that of your full swing. Ball position tips. Left for loft. For right-handed golfers, move the ball forward and increase loft. Right for roll. Moving the ball back decreases the loft for more roll. Sharpen your short game and watch your scores drop and your enjoyment rise. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
As we continue on here, halfway through the second hour, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports. 916 says, I'm not trying to rub it in anyone's face, but anyone who saw this team go 0-5 in preseason and really looked at the roster construction had no business thinking 50 wins for this team. That's honestly an embarrassing take. Yeah, I mean, the 0-5 thing in the preseason, I don't know. I feel like you could stay away from that and still make your point, 916. I think they were just going to have to get really hot. I don't think it was an embarrassing take or ridiculous at the end of the day. It was just what were you going to get from the bench, right? If Trey Lyles returns to Beam Team form and Herder does as well, then it's a different conversation. But that's not what happened. So I don't think it was embarrassing. I think it was just a lot of things needed to go right, and those things have not gone right. Kevin Herder and Trey Lyles, they can't stay on the court, number one. And when they do, it's okay, well, they're getting back from injury. So I do think there was a world where this team got to 50 wins. A lot had to go right, very similar to a couple years ago, and it hasn't. I don't think anyone thought this, and I don't think 0-5 means that this was on the horizon either. All right, we have plenty of calls to get through. So I'm going to let the callers do the talking here. Will, Rob, Brandon, and Sal, 916-339-1140. Let's start with Will. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Will? What you got for us?
What's up, Styles? Hey, man, I know you guys have to be kind of delicate with your critique and everything because, you guys promoting everything. And but here's my take. I don't know if you guys, if anybody talked about this yet, because I just got my truck and doing a little travel. But the problem is, man, is Keegan can't create his own shot.
Yeah.
If he's not hitting his jump shots, he's just like Herder. They're not hitting jump shots. So I'm thinking, as long as Crowder get more time, Crowder and Kobe Jones, even Kobe Jones can create his own shot. I mean, he's what's Kobe, 6'6"? Is he 6'6"?
Yeah, 6'5", 6'6", yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Keegan ain't that much taller than him, and I think he's more athletic. We don't have guys who can create shots at the three spot. I mean, that's one of the problems. And then I'm gonna say this, and please don't kill me, man. Don't kill me, please. Then we lose to Portland by 1 or 2.
I thought it was more than that. I thought it was more,
Was it more than that?
Yeah, I thought
Okay, we lost last night by 2. I think it's another game we lost by 2. The problem is, man, is we just can't guard the 3.
Yeah.
We cannot guard the 3, and Brown is not making any adjustments. And I got man. I know. Everybody that likes Domas's, his triple double doubles and all this kind of stuff. But Domas cry too much. He complains too much instead of just playing rough ball. And just like last night, you know that Brown should have made adjustments on that pick and roll. He just let it kept going. He made no adjustments. You're gonna pick and roll a 8-foot guy on a 6'3" guy, right. And it just kept happening. It kept happening. Now, Stiles, Brown should have did something, and then Domas didn't show any resistance. He just kept switching.
Yeah,
he just kept switching. I'm saying, man, what are you doing? You switching, and you got 8-foot Neanderthal on Fox and Malik.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Will. Look, it was tough. It was tough because they stuck to the game plan even after dudes like Champagne and Devin Vassell, they got their confidence shooting threes, but they still stuck to that game plan where it looked bad. It looked like the same, like Marshawn Lynch. It's the same thing over and over and over again. I guess maybe. But what do you do? Because it is Wemby. Do you send 2? I guess to Will's point, that's on Domas to not switch as easily. But we know a lot of teams do switch in this league. The difference is you still get out there and guard the 3 ball, and they couldn't do that either. They could not do that. So they couldn't do anything. They could not do anything right. Let's talk to Rob in Rancho. Wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Rob? What you got?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Well, you're being optimistic. I'm listening. It's been a crazy couple days with the way the losses have piled up. I feel like I've called a few times. I'm more of an optimist when it comes to this because I've been through it. I've been a Kings fan my whole life at 37, so it's like I remember what it is. But I mean, we're looking at like our history as a team. It's like we've won 28% of the time the team's been sacked. Let's be real. Like that means 72% of the time team's not doing great. So I don't think when you're in that part of your existence where you're actually succeeding, you want to blow it up entirely. And I know we've talked a lot about trades, and in the past I've been super against trading guys like Herter or Lyles because I'm a guy who wants I'm a sack native. I've been born and bred here. I'm about guys who work hard, and you want to give those guys chances like Herter and Lyles, but they're just not panning out at this point, and you got to look at guys that you might be able to get. And I know, John Collins is a name that's come up, for instance, and I hate to be the guy because he sounds almost cliche at this point, but I mean, look at it like this. He's going to be a free agent next year. He's got a contract that, they'd like to dump right now. So, I mean, you trade a guy like Herter and or Trey and Herter for a guy like Collins, you might be able to swing that deal right now. And then you got to look at guys, like I said, who are going to be free agents next year. I would look at John Collins, Clint Capella, Preston Achua, Steven Adams. Those are guys I would look at trading. I'd go kick the tires on those guys again, probably.
Yeah.
And see if you can't get a team to budge, because I think right now we're one solid piece away. And then you got to keep in mind, Devin Carter's sneaking up on us. He's going to be here close. If we can keep this team competitive and maybe add one more piece, that young rookie comes back. That's lightning in a bottle right there. So I mean, I'm not ready to give up on the season, and I know we're 3 games under, but we've been in way worse positions, and we have a team that the guys seem to want to get it figured out. They come to work every day and work their butts off. So. Yeah. I mean, it's like these Sac fans got to just dig deep a little and remember, hey, we're Sacramento. We don't get anything. We got to earn it every day. So, let's saddle up with some guys that are willing to go to war every day and maybe go find one more piece, Like, let's not just fire all the good people we have and the front office yet.
Thanks for the call, Rob. I think that's great. It was definitely optimistic. You weren't kidding about that. It's definitely optimistic. And look, it's refreshing on a day like today. It's just, what is that piece? I don't know. Okay, so Trey Lyles and Kevin Huerter for John Collins. Let's do it. I think that money works. Fine. You do that deal right now. So John Collins, who I believe has been starting on the Jazz because they're terrible, but John Collins now comes off the bench, and he's your Trey Lyles off the bench, whether you keep Malik Monk or not. So you got John Collins, you got Malik Monk starting. So you got Malik Monk starting now, John Collins off the bench, and the rest of the bench is still bad. It's probably worse now. So I'm not saying to not do that deal. It's just, okay, so you get Devin Carter, and he's your backup. So you got Keon, Devin Carter, John Collins. That's your 8-man rotation right there. 2 of those dudes are guards. I know Devin Carter says he can guard 1 through 4. Let's see him do it at the NBA level. I'm not saying he can. I'm just saying I can't count that yet. Great stuff from Rob. Brandon, we see you. Sal, we see you. We will kick off the next segment with you, so don't go anywhere. And you listening, don't go anywhere. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
De'Aaron Fox plays here.
Stolen by Fox. Breakaway coming up for De'Aaron. And a simple, casual spike with the left hand. The Kings lead by 3.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
The holidays can be tough for some, especially if things from your past are still following you around to this day. Now, don't be afraid of your past this upcoming holiday season, as an expungement can help. And that's where the law offices of Jonathan Gonzalez comes in, as he's local and has a great track record. Now that expungement can help you get a job, get your life back in order, and you'll also get your constitutional rights back. He's offering discounts on expungements now through Christmas. Call 916-304-9187. That's 916-304-9187.
The holidays are always a great time to get together with family and friends, but nothing beats the thrill of Stockton Honda's deals. During Happy Honda Days, find the perfect ride in person or online. With over 400 new Hondas ready to go, now is the time to buy at Northern California's #1 Honda deal, Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claims based on 2023 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company. Sold on report.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Black Friday sale, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. And Cyber Monday. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Bell Brothers presents our end-of-year warehouse clearance with our lowest prices of the year. Everything in our inventory must go. Save big on new furnaces, water heaters, AC units, and more. Plus, receive an instant rebate of up to $2,000 on select furnace and AC systems, and a free standard water heater with installation, and 0 payments, 0 interest financing. Call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or go online to thenosurpriseguys.com. These deals will not last long. If you have been putting off getting a new heating and cooling system or replacing your old water heater, now is the time to take action. It's Bell Brothers end-of-year warehouse clearance. Our in-home estimates and second opinions are always free. Right now is the best time to save up to $2,000 on select heating and cooling systems. Plus, receive a free standard water heater with installation. Plus 0 payments, 0 interest financing. Get all the details at thenosurpriseguys.com. Financing based on approved credit.
No surprise guys, Bell Brothers.
The Black Friday Sell-a-thon is on at Folsom Lake Ford. Get huge discounts, low finance rates, and 0 down deals on approval of credit right now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall and tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Same type of packages that we've been hearing as far as Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, but what can you get back for them? This is the same thing as Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes. To me, you could probably make the argument that Harrison Barnes had a little bit more value. You know, Spurs were interested in him because and at the very least, he doesn't have injury history, and he was a starter. At least last season, there were 2 starters that were being dangled around. Now there's only one, and both of them are injured. So I don't really see how the Trey Lyles, Kevin Huerter thing is going to move anyone. And I know this will move some people. 1 o'clock, we're giving away a pair of tickets to see Thomas Rhett at Shoreline Amphitheater on September 27th. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Hit up the Folsom Lake Honda hotline at 1 p.m. for your chance to win and not have to deal with those tickets going on sale Friday at 10 a.m. For more information, visit sacktownsports.com. That is at 1 o'clock. Sal, we see you, but Brandon, before you in line. Brandon, you're on with Allen Stiles. What you got for us?
What's going on, Mr. Stiles?
Not too much. What you got?
This is where I'm at with it. I think we all know the NBA is tough. The West is really tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's even tougher when you don't got a healthy team, and it's even tougher when you don't got a healthy team who's kind of just put themselves all together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many games that they've played, the starting 5 has played healthy altogether, but I know they've had long games here and there where main people in the lineup have been out. And I think that's tough, especially with not having a lot of practice time. So I think we're seeing some of that on the defensive side and why they seem confused. There's a lot of moving pieces, and I don't know if they've gotten fully they've gotten together enough to fully understand where they need to be, when they need to be there, and feel confident about it. So I think we just got to let this cook a little bit longer, let it simmer, and see what happens. I'm definitely not trying to wait for another De'Aaron Fox in the draft, wait for another big-time free agent like DeMar DeRozan to actually want to come to Sacramento, wait to find DeMontis Sabonis. We got some pieces here. I just think that one part that we kind of dropped the ball on is we didn't have the luxury to draft an injured player. And so I think not getting a guy who could help us right away, like a Dalton Connect or Jerry McCain, I mean, we just didn't have that luxury. Maybe Devin Carter comes and he's, like the guy said, lightning in a bottle, and it's the greatest pick, money's made. But as of right now, it's not helping us at all. And you see a lot of these teams, they're getting help from their young guys where they made a lot of transactions that they're getting help from. So I just think we need to just relax. We've lost a lot of close games. See how this thing really plays out going into, let's say, 15 more games or so. See if they start getting it together. But patience. I think we just need patience. We knew it was going to be tough. I mean, you said they could be anywhere from 2 to 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's looking like they're somewhere from the 6 to 10, hopefully. Let's try to get in the playoffs. Let's see what we can do. And we just got to keep developing. We got to make sure Keegan keeps developing. That's an important part because we were kind of looking at this team. We wanted an exciting year, but we wanted next year to really be the push for the Western Conference Finals. Well, that's not going to happen if we don't start developing Keegan more and more and we get something from these young guys. So my main thing is let's see what happens, and let's continue developing, and hopefully we can start making better draft picks to where they can help us immediately, or we don't draft another guard. We go after somebody with some length.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Brandon. That's great stuff. And yeah, the Devin Carter thing to me is, as people have brought up Monty McNair, the Devin Carter thing to me is one where Monty McNair has hitched his wagon to a guy who we haven't even seen yet because he's been injured. The other part of it is, let's not forget that this draft was supposed to stink. Okay, so I would say there are situations, I don't know, it depends on how you look at it. You can look at it and say, well, in a draft that's supposed to stink, I don't care about positions, I'm just going to draft the best talent. Or you can look at it and say, well, in a draft that stinks, I'm going to just get the best at the position because the ceiling isn't very high anyway. They decided to get the best talent that they thought was available, knowing that he was injured. I'm looking here at some of it, and I'll be completely honest, I don't know if there were injuries involved or whatever it is, but a guy like Khalil Ware, he's and the Miami Heat, they're not setting the world on fire. A guy like Khalil Ware, he's only played in 10 games. Maybe there's some injury there. I saw a clip a couple weeks ago just about Khalil Ware, and it was Eric Spoelstra kind of breaking down how he's still kept his head up even though he hasn't been getting the playing time. We know how Miami, the Heat culture is. Hey, you got to earn your time, whatever it is. But, that was a guy who maybe the Kings go in that direction. I would assume he'd be getting more playing time on the Kings with their lack of size and all that. Somebody else called in about Zach Edey. Zach Edey went 9. What are you going to do about that? The guys that went after, and we've done this before, Tristan Da Silva, he's played pretty well on the Magic. That's a guy, Tristan Da Silva and Dalton Connect. If you thought that Devin Carter is going to be better than Jared McCain, that was Monty's decision. Is he going to be right? I don't know. Bub Carrington, he's on the Wizards right now, so they're just doing whatever they want. But, another guard type. So at the very least, there's not a ton of guys where it's, man, this looks terrible, but Dalton Connect and Jared McCain doesn't look great. And Tristan Da Silva, he's playing in games. Khalil Ware, maybe that was the one where the Heat just, they wanted to take some size and see what they could do. But yeah, look, you're hitching your wagon to a guy who's been injured, and I just not looking at him as a savior because honestly, I don't think that's very fair. You got Keegan Murray, who you're asking to do a lot, and now we're going to say, hey, Devin Carter's going to come in and we can move some things. And that's not what Brandon was saying, but a lot of people are saying, don't forget Devin Carter. I just don't know what to do with that yet. And if I can't, I don't want Fryer, I don't want Providence mad at me, but if there was something out there to get somebody proven and Devin had to be a part of that conversation, I just feel like you have to. You can't look at Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron in the face and say, hey, this guy who hasn't played, he's supposed to be pretty good, though, so we can't move him. Can't do it in the draft that's supposed to stink. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Sal, who's been hanging on, wants to be part of the combo. What's up, Sal? You're on with Allen Stiles. What you got?
Hey, good afternoon. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Gotcha.
I got a couple of points I want to go over. I'm an old head. I played basketball in the 80s, early 90s up to the college level. And first off, we got to just be completely honest about this team. We got great pieces. And back to the Devin Carter issue, not really an issue, but he's not going to be a savior. He's not even going to be evaluated. That doesn't mean he's going to be playing. He's not going to be even evaluated until sometime in January. So when was the last time a rookie came out of the draft and was a savior to any team? And if we're hoping for that, it's a lot of pressure on a kid, you know? And so I think the pressure should be there's something definitely has to be done. There's got to be some type of shakeup. I think everybody's on the table. I'm not a big fan of Sabonis. I appreciate his double doubles. I don't appreciate his lack of boxing out, or even sometimes his complaining and his wherewithal. But needless to say, Brown has been exposed last year, and why we extended a contract for him. I'm not blaming all of Brown. I would have certainly kept Jordi Fernandez. But everything's 2020 hindsight. Yeah. And it seems as though to me, and I played on teams and played against teams where a coach has a philosophy or a system. And I don't even think we really have a structured system. We don't have an identity. We don't have a dog. We don't have, in a lot of it comes to the preparation and the desire and the mentality of how you approach the game. Everybody can shoot the ball. We got people shooting the ball that shouldn't be shooting the ball. The NBA is a trash league right now. You got people that are just role players shooting 8, 9, 10 threes in a game. It's disgusting. Mm-hmm. The 81-82 Nuggets averaged 126.5 points, and the three-pointer was at 24 feet. You know, the 61-62 Warriors, there was no three-pointer, and they averaged just like a half a point than that. Right. We got teams that are leading the league right now, shooting 37 more threes and scoring one less point than a team. There's only been 2 teams in the last 40 years that are in the top 10 in the 3-point. So what I'm saying is that, and I sound like an old man, I sound like my dad, my grandfather, and my uncle, is that they just don't make them like they used to.
Right.
So if you play the game like it's supposed to be played, and you take what they give you, and you go to your strengths, we got players. But if you don't put your players in a structured system and run sets, run picks, run people ragged, play hardcore defense, you got to play some hard defense, man. And on offense, you got to punish people. What happened to the day of taking your fouls on the offensive side, running some people over, putting your foot on someone's chest? I think Sabonis could play bully ball, but he's just kind of that Euro, I don't want to say floppy, but the Euro type of complaining and arms wailing. I say everybody's on the table, mm-hmm. including the owner, and you have to really look deep dive into, okay, what is it that we want to accomplish? This thing of letting it simmer and coddling certain players, and I'm not saying we're coddling Herter and Keegan and all that, but you know, over the off season, Keegan and everybody should have been on the. If we knew we were going to try to get a big piece, and to say that we're one piece away, no, we're an identity and a defense and a desire and the mentality of approaching the game away. So what it starts is from the top. You can't start a business or a church or a family or anything from the bottom. You have to start from the top and address that and say, okay, where are we going? Yeah. Okay, so right now, the way we're playing, let's play some 80s ball. Yeah. We don't need to analytics.
No, thank Sal. I got to get to the other side. Thank you, though. Thank you. I think we got to it. No, appreciate you, though, Sal. Great stuff. As Sal was breaking down, I'm looking here at some of the 3-point percentages from last season to just see, is there any correlation of a team who just didn't shoot well, but still was able to get it done and get to the playoffs? I have that for you. Also, let's talk about that second option. So many calls, so many texts, but we still want to talk about it. Let's talk about letting go of the young players. Does anybody want to go through that route? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Finally here. Wendy's new salted caramel frosty. It's cold, salted, yet perfectly sweet, delicious, and it's at the top of Santa's Christmas list.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino's giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Seasons change, but if you hope to stay healthy, your body needs to stay active year-round, whether that's in the gym or on the trail or at work, and that's where the Good Feet store can help. Good Feet's personalized arch support system supports all 4 arches, relieving pain in your feet, knees, hips, and back. And Good Feet arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Visit goodfeet.com for an appointment or stop in for a free fitting. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville, and in Reno on South Virginia Street.
Don't you just love this time of year and the holidays when families get together to make memories? Hi. This is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. From the time I was a youngster, the family table was always filled with a gathering of grandparents, aunts and uncles, brothers and sisters. Those are memories that will live with me forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings holiday home sale going on right now gives you the opportunity to find the perfect holiday gift that will last a lifetime. You'll find unique gifts like gleaming accessories for every room, now 20% off. During Naturewood's holiday home sale, you'll find savings all around the store for every room in your home. Find your perfect bit of Christmas for your home at Naturewood Home Furnishings Holiday Home Sale, going on right now. The memories you make with your family will be with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Your local sports leader in the 916.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140. The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Great stuff on the call lines. Keep them coming. We are going to get to the young guns on the team. Keegan Murray, Devin Carter. Would you make a move with those guys and keep the big three together? DeMar DeRozan, De'Aaron Fox, and Sabonis. That is our second option here as far as the roster construction is concerned. But our last caller was kicking it old school and was talking a lot about the threes. And look, I think the reality is you can be a grinded out team and not shoot the three ball, but you have to defend the three. That's the problem. The problem this season is not the amount of threes the Kings are taking, or even the fact they're missing them to some degree. But you can't do that and then also not defend the three ball. Last time I checked, they were second to last, and I guarantee you they haven't gone up. Haven't not gone up. I mean, they were second to last behind the Atlanta Hawks, who just refused to guard the three ball. But every time you look at the box score for the Kings, there's just 50%, 45%. I mean, it's insane. It just doesn't make any sense, and you just got to be better. So I'm pulling up what it is now. Opponent 3-point made, and now we have opponent 3-point percentage. There's still somehow the Kings have they've actually improved. I don't know how, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have been on a tear, this probably makes the least amount of sense. I mean, it's just by 0.1, but the Kings are at 38.2. The Cavs are at 38.3. But again, you have to do something right. I guarantee you, if I look at what the Cavs are shooting the three ball at, okay, look at this. The Cavs, the worst in defending the three, all right, second to worst. Guess who's number one in 3-point percentage this season? The Cleveland Cavaliers. So they're essentially canceling that out and then going to work in different ways. The Kings can't shoot, and they also can't defend other players or other teams shooting. So the Kings are 28th out of 30 teams as far as defending the three ball, 38.2. That's what teams are shooting. And it feels worse than that, honestly. It feels worse than that. The Hawks are still sitting in the last at 38.9. And I believe it was Rob's call earlier. Hey, well, they don't need to shoot as many threes, whatever it is. I am taking a look here at teams that can't shoot and who is the best team that can't shoot. So I'm looking here. I'm going down the list for 2024 as far as where the Kings sit. So the Kings are the 25th team out of 30 as far as 3-point shooting percentage. So they're terrible. All right. They are 7th. Okay. As far as 7th to last in shooting percentage. And they're giving up the second most amount of threes as far as percentage is concerned. So now I'm scrolling, trying to see who's the best team that can't shoot, but is still playing well. Okay, so the worst team, they still can't shoot. They tried to get KCP. They still can't shoot. Orlando is at 31.7%. That's awful, but Orlando will get after you defensively. When you look back at the opposing 3-point percentage and what Orlando does there, Orlando, they're 16th. They're middle of the road as far as opposing 3-point percentage, but we know that Orlando can just defend in general. Right, so you have Orlando, New Orleans is not good. Houston is probably the best, right? So Houston's shooting 33.1% from 3-point range, and they're top 3 team in the West right now. It's still early. So can you be Houston? Can you? They got Şengün, who's supposed to be a young Domantas Sabonis. You got Fred VanVleet. I mean, I think the Kings have a better roster than Houston. Can you figure that out? Right? And again, it's so early. But here we go. You know who is top 3 in opponent 3-point percentage? The Houston Rockets. So all of these teams are doing at least one or the other besides the Kings. Houston can't shoot, but they're making sure other teams can't shoot either. Houston is shooting 33% from 3-point range, and their opposing percent is 33%. So they're at least canceling it out. So that's the problem. The problem isn't necessarily the Kings even not being able to shoot. The problem is they can't do anything. Oklahoma City, they're only shooting 34%. They're 21 out of 30. OKC can't shoot right now. 34%. They are the 21st team out of 30. But then you look at them defensively, opponent 3-point percentage, they're second. If we can't shoot, y'all can't either. And that the Kings can't do that. They cannot do that. And maybe getting in a couple other guys will allow them to do that. I did want to get to the second option, Keegan Murray, Devin Carter. Would you move any of those guys and just tweak those players to get to where you want to go as far as the rest of the roster is concerned? 916 says, I would ask if Keegan needs to spend more time refocusing on his 3-point shooting. He clearly developed other parts of his game in the last 2 years. So go make him work on his threes every day. That's from the 916. Yeah, I don't know how that works, right? You say one day you're telling him, hey, you need to do all this. Are you going to tell him not rebound, right? Or is it, hey, we're just going to live what Keon Ellis gives? You just started adding Malik Monk. So defensively, the other team has a wing like a Paul George, whoever it is. You're going to put DeMar DeRozan on him because, I mean, at the very least, the defense stinks anyway. Maybe that works. I don't know, man. I'm not saying they've done damage to Keegan Murray that can't be undone. But at the same time, you sitting there, hey, Keegan, you stink at shooting now, so go shoot. I mean, it's a bit of a head game too. It turns into a head game. You can see these guys thinking. You can see Keegan thinking every time he takes a shot. We go during the break, go watch Keegan's highlights from the Warriors playing game and tell me what looks different. Next break, the Warriors highlights from that playing game. Keegan is, as soon as he gets the ball, he's shooting, the confidence level, everything. Now, he did have that dunk last night where he looked at the bench, and I thought, okay, maybe this could get him going, and it didn't. But it was a nice dunk. He dunked on Wemby, so we're not going to disrespect that. Then you lost. So I no longer care about that much. And again, what do you have? 8 points last night. So this is not a Keegan Murray. Everybody's going to get it today. We're about halfway through the show, but there's plenty more to go. And we got 4 more of these to go throughout the rest of the week. But would you be interested in Keegan Murray, Devin Carter, and seeing what you have there? I think the big issue is with trading those young pieces is that the money stinks. So there's no world where you keep Kevin Huerter that I see. There's no world where you keep Kevin Huerter and or Trey Lyles only making $8 million a year. But there's no world. I don't see a world where you're trading Keegan Murray without Kevin Huerter. So the problem with the whole, hey, trade the young pieces is that none of them are making money. So you have to make that money work. So, let's go get Kyle Kuzma. Now you're talking about Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, Keegan Murray for Kyle Kuzma. Well, nobody wants to do that. So, especially with Keegan Murray's value down. So I don't know what to do with Keegan. You have 2 guys who, Keegan Murray, nobody knows what he's going to be, and Devin Carter, who has not played in an NBA game yet. All I know is this. You can't sit there, and I think this is where the Kings messed up. And I've never coached in the NBA. I did coach 8th grade, the A2 team, and we were very good. I drew up some really nice plays. But I've never coached in the NBA, and I'm assuming that most of the listeners have not either. But I got eyes. And when I watched Keegan Murray dribble, there was never there. And that's why I always compare him to Klay Thompson. I never understood the Kawhi Leonard conversations. Some people even threw out Jason Tatum. I never understood that. My eyeballs are telling me that this guy, he's not crossing anybody up. He's not putting anybody on an island. And Klay Thompson's not doing that either. And to a lesser degree, or he wasn't in his prime, to a lesser degree, Michael Porter Jr. doesn't do it either. Michael Porter Jr. is probably the most gifted athletically, and definitely would have been if he didn't deal with those injuries. But all these guys that, they're going to shoot the three ball, they're going to defend. There's nothing wrong with that. Why did we have to try to put it in our heads that Keegan is going to develop this crazy bag? And I'm not saying we, I'm saying the collective we. Kings management included. I never saw a guy that was going, it's just quick twitch. It's just your eyeballs. I never got that. He could shoot the lights out, but boogie in on people, when was he going to do that? When? I get it, big body a little bit more. By the way, speaking of big body, you know what I saw last night? I saw Chris Paul switched onto Keegan Murray. You know what Keegan Murray did? He passed it to DeMar DeRozan immediately. He didn't even look at the basket. So this is what we're talking about. This is what you can't teach. Chris Paul? Mouse in the house? DeMar, move out the way.
You call off the whole team.
DeMar, get out the way with your untied shoes. Get out the way. I'm about to go to work. He passed it. So, again, is that a Keegan Murray thing? Is that a Mike Brown, hey, let's work it around the flow offense thing? But that was crazy to me. So the guy that is untouchable for Lauri Markkanen, they are hiding a 47-year-old Chris Paul on that guy. And Chris Paul, he keeps saying he's 6 foot. I don't think he is. I saw him next to Jake from State Farm. Unless Jake be hooping somewhere, Chris Paul is not 6. And Keegan Murray is 6'9". He didn't even look at the basket. And I don't even know if that's a Keegan Murray issue. I think that's everyone involved.
It's got to be both. Because,
everyone.
Yeah, it's Mike Brown, coaching staff and Keegan. You just need to read it. Even if it's a flow offense thing, whatever Mike Brown is saying flow offense is, you take what you get, and that is what you get. Like, the matchup of Chris Paul against you, who's like half a foot taller than you, just take it. And if someone makes a really good cut and you can make that pass, but don't pass it to DeMar DeRozan for him to ISO against a better defender than
it was
what you can
crazy.
do.
And I'm pretty sure DeMar did not score on that possession. Maybe he got to the foul line. I don't know. But it doesn't even matter. I would have loved to see Keegan this is where you work on stuff. Because that's the thing. If you are not working on stuff against Chris Paul and the Spurs, when is Keegan going to get better here? When is that going to develop? And again, if you're just now joining us, this is not a Keegan bash sesh. We've talked about Sabonis. We've talked about De'Aaron Fox, and we're going to get to the coaches as well. All right? Actually, we talked about blowing it up. Next segment is about De'Aaron, Sabonis, or DeRozan. So don't get me wrong. 209 is getting me wrong. 209 says, hey, Allen, you're doing the Kings foul. The problem isn't the players. Okay, it is a bit. But Coach has screwed this team. Mike's idea of coaching is changing lineups. He never makes adjustments to his flawed offensive and defensive system. So earlier in the show, and thanks for chiming in, 209, we played what Malik Monk had to say about the defensive schemes, what Mike Brown also had to say about the defensive schemes. Again, we can use Eric Spoelstra if you want. And look, if it's a blame pie, we love blame pie. Everybody gets a piece of it. I do think that Mike Brown deserves a lot of culpability here, but the players also have to, if the players are admitting that they're also not doing what he's asking them to do, then that's where I do put it back on the players. 209. That's what I would say to that. All right, we broke down trading the young pieces. Let's get to the spiciest of the bunch. Trading some of the prime pieces right now, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, or DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, let's get uncomfortable. That's what happens when you lose, when you're 1-6 your last 7 games. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline, Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Black Friday has officially landed at Fasteners Inc. Sacramento. The best deals of the year on power tools are happening now from November 25th through December 2nd. Get low-price Makita Bear tools starting at just $89, Makita batteries starting at only $49, and so much more. Don't miss out on your chance to grab the hottest power tool deals of the year. But hurry, these deals won't last forever. Visit us in person at 6701 Power Inn Road or shop online anytime at fastenersinc.net. Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet. Better tools, better prices.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Say It Ain't So, my favorite rock band song. Was that Garage? Yeah. Rock band. Or Guitar Hero, one of the two. It was definitely rock band. All right, moving forward. The 209, and we're going to break down moving the big pieces. And I know there's some people, some listeners, some callers that have been waiting for this segment. But I did find this interesting. I was just thinking off the top of my head. And as 209, talked about, Allen, I'm doing the Kings foul. The problem isn't the players, only a little bit. It's more so about the coach. It did remind me of national media and how much we were hating on national media for where they did have the Kings slotted, right? So when it comes to let's go down Mike Brown's road and say, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that, and we need to move forward. Let's make no mistake about it. I mean, I don't think this is a Milwaukee Bucks situation. And the Milwaukee Bucks weren't they top 3 in the East when they got rid of their coach? But I don't think it's a situation where, man, oh man, this team is nowhere it needs to be. As far as the national media is concerned, the Kings are underperforming, but they had the Kings, a lot of them, fighting to stay out of the play-in again. I guess what I'm saying is it's not as if this team was supposed to be a top 3 seed in the West. Now, here in Sacramento, we thought they could be, and we want them to be. But if you look at what the standings are now, the Kings are 12th, right? They could, and they've dealt with a lot of injuries. You could blink, and it's still somewhat early. You could blink, and the Kings could be right back in that 9 seed. A little bit worse than what we were hoping, or I would say a lot worse than what we were hoping for, but only a little bit worse than what national media was expecting. Is that enough to move on for Mike Brown? That's your opinion. But, we're not sitting here looking at the Kings as they were supposed to be a top 3 team in the West. Most teams and most media outlets did not have them there. They had them pretty much 6 to 8. Now they're not there now, but they did play a couple games without their top 3 pieces. They only, just with De'Aaron. Everybody has missed time. So, again, I do think it's interesting because we kind of dunked on a lot of national media because we believe that the Kings could be better. But let's just say, I think the line for the Kings was 47.5, right? So maybe they're a little less than that. So, yeah, you underachieve. But let's not act like Mike Brown, the expectations, nobody outside of Sacramento, the 916-209, whatever you want to call it, no one outside of Kings Nation had the team a top 4 seed or better.
Definitely not.
So, I mean, they're not playing well, but it looks worse. What I'm saying, I guess, is it probably looks worse in Sacramento than it does on the outside. It's just, hey, they're 9-12. They could get hot. They dealt with some injuries. They'll be right back in the 7 seed. That's not what we were hoping for, but that's what a lot of people thought.
Yeah. And I think that that's a fairly rational point of view. I think that obviously you want to be optimistic if you're from Sacramento and you're a Kings fan, and looking at the roster, it's just you want to look at the best from it. Like, we're expecting a lot from Doug McDermott starting this season, and that's a fairly unrational thing to expect from someone like Doug McDermott.
I mean, I almost threw a party when they signed Jay Crowder. That's what we're talking about here. I'm banging on the table. Where's Jordan McLaughlin?
Yeah.
What are we doing? That's just a tough go. All right. So we've talked about a full-blown blow-up. We've talked about trading the young pieces. Now, last but not least, this one is probably the spiciest of all, trading one of the prime pieces, whether it's De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan. One of those three. Would you do it? Hey, DeMar, love ya. Just not working out. Hey, Sabonis, I think we've taken this thing as far as we can go. Hey, De'Aaron, we know you've been kind of trying to see what's going to happen anyway. We got to beat it to the punch, right? Who would you move if you're moving anyone? Again, if you're just now joining us, we've gone through all the options. This is not just shock jock radio. Let's blow the whole thing up, or let's move on from De'Aaron Fox. We've gone through all the options. We've gone through blowing the whole thing up. We've gone through just trading some of the young pieces and keeping the big three. Now we're talking about maybe changing the big three a little bit. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan. I think the one guy that probably doesn't move is DeMar DeRozan, because I'm just not really sure what that value looks like. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think Mr. Vivek likes taking pictures with DeMar DeRozan. I think he thinks it's good for the culture of Sacramento. I think he believes that part of it. Look, what DeMar DeRozan does on the court, we don't need to speak about. Hall of Famer. But as far as being 35, finally getting a star who chose Sacramento, I honestly think that eliminates DeMar DeRozan from the conversation. I truly do. So that leaves you with, and you feel free to disagree, 916-339-1140. So that leaves De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Well, between the two, I think that Domantas Sabonis is a bit of an acquired taste. I think that there are teams, and there's a team that Anthony knows. Anthony was working in the Bay Area. I'm from the Bay Area. Yeah, the Warriors would love to have Domantas Sabonis. I think he would fit with them perfectly. Okay? Unfortunately, or I should say fortunately, because I wouldn't want to see it, and that would be funny with Draymond Green now thinking back to everything that happened, but I don't think the Warriors have enough on top of the money aspect to even start a conversation like that. The Warriors aren't paying anybody. And if you look at even the young guns, even if they had somebody, I'm higher on Jonathan Kuminga than others, but I mean, Brandon Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga, some combination of that for Domantas. I mean, that would get Monty fired in a heartbeat. And on the other side, that's probably what it's going to look like, because the Warriors are overvaluing Brandon Podziemski, to a lesser degree Jonathan Kuminga. So again, if somebody just turned this on, I'm not trying to send Domantas Sabonis to the Warriors. I'm just trying to look at the types of teams that would be interested in Domantas Sabonis, because you're either going to have to change the way your team plays, or you're going to have to change the way that Domantas Sabonis plays. It's one of the two, because this isn't necessarily what he was doing in Indiana. He's kind of fallen into this free-flowing DHO offense, and he's really good at it. So I'm looking at some of the teams. Cavs don't need anybody. Celtics, no. Magic, I don't think so. They don't have the shooting, I don't think. Knicks, no. Heat, no. Bucks, that spacing would be terrible, but there's a world, I guess. And what do the Bucks have that the Kings would want?
I can see like a Portland who wants just a solid piece, and they got
again, 14 centers already.
I know, but that we take some of them. Yeah, I guess is the only way that I see
Robert Williams, Jeremy Grant.
I don't want to do it. I'm just trying to look for a team that would be like, I'm open to answering calls about Domantas Sabonis, because there are teams that just wouldn't even answer the phone.
And that's West, and it's not completely shut down if it's the West. I'm just looking, man. I mean, Rockets, they have mini Sabonis and Şengün. I think Zubac has been playing well for the Clippers. I guess my whole point of this, and if there's a team that we're missing, please let us know. I guess my whole point of this is that De'Aaron Fox is the easiest answer if you're going to move off of someone. Not because he is the most talented and the easiest to just drop in anywhere. And he can be a guy that you can sell as, hey, he will get you over the hump more than Domantas Sabonis right now. Not that I want to do any of it. We're just going through all the options.
Definitely. And but we also thought that when the whole Halliburton thing happened. It's very interesting to know what the front office thinks, because I don't know how they view De'Aaron Fox. In that moment, I think most Kings fans saw that we had too many point guards, and De'Aaron was the easiest one because his value was the highest. Halliburton was the youngest. You go with that. And then we got Sabonis. Not saying that it was the right or wrong move. Sabonis is great, but it's just, I don't know what the front office is thinking at any given moment. I don't know how they value De'Aaron compared to how we as fans value De'Aaron.
Yeah, it is something that, a lot of people are going to have a lot of different opinions on, but that's why we are here. Let's continue the conversation. Got a couple texts that we want to get to as well. And we do want to play Mike Brown's sound after the Blazers lost, where he was a little bit fiery there. Let's also talk about teams that recognize that they hit their ceiling and decided to blow it up and how it ended up for them. And you cannot use OKC. We've heard it enough. Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
Christmas music is everywhere. The smell of gingerbread is in the air. And wait, what's that sound? It's Santa. He's headed back to Sacramento for the 41st Annual Santa Parade, December 14th in downtown Sacramento. Bring your entire family to the parade route around the Capitol for over 100 floats, including marching bands, pageant princesses, clowns, horses, and of course, Santa himself.
The 41st Annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 14th, with Shriners Children's Northern California, Gurnick Academy, and the California Army National Guard. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Get more info at sacktownsports.com.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Right now is the perfect time to replace your windows. It's Bell Brothers end-of-year warehouse sale. We're offering our lowest prices of the year on all windows and doors. Plus, instant rebate up to $2,000 when you purchase new windows. And 0 payments, 0 interest financing for 12 months. Call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or go online to thenosurpriseguys.com. These deals will not last long. If you've been putting off getting to replace your windows or installing new doors, now is the time to take action. It's Bell Brothers end-of-the-year warehouse clearance. Call now at 916-444-1234 or go online to thenosurpriseguys.com. In-home estimates are always free. If you're ready to replace your windows or install new doors, right now, Bell Brothers has the lowest prices of the year, plus an instant rebate of up to $2,000 when you purchase new windows or more, and 0 payments, 0 interest financing. Get all the details at thenosurpriseguys.com. Minimum purchase required. Financing based on approved credit. Cannot combine offers.
Black Friday savings on now on the all-new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. With $8,000 off MSRP after rebates, every new 2025 half-ton LT, RST, LT's in high country in stock at Maida Chevy. Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections of new 2025 Silverados in the Sacramento area. $8,000 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing, leasing, time and offers. Ends 12/1/24. Source internet search 11/2/24.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room. And guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Minutes away from our Thomas Rhett ticket giveaway, Shoreline Amphitheater. Tickets go on sale this Friday, but you don't have to worry about that if you are our lucky caller. That is coming up at 1 p.m. We had a texter come in and say from the 916. So let me get this straight. You guys have been saying Sabonis as a second coming of Christ, but yet you can't trade him. Pretty much, yeah, that Halliburton trade is looking incredible. I never want to hear that trade, that we won that trade. Well, 916, that's not what I said. Okay, what I said was he either has to change the way he plays for a team or a team has to change the way that they play. That's what I said. So that's not to say a team doesn't want to do that, right? I mean, you can win a trade and say somebody's limited. And by the way, Tyrese Halliburton has not been playing well also. And Buddy Hield has cooled off, and that's 4 teams later. Nobody's ever said Sabonis was the second coming of anybody. We all admit that he's a bit limited. All right. That doesn't mean he's not a good player. Giannis is limited too. He can't shoot. What does that mean? Steph can't do a 360 dunk. He's limited. What does that mean? All right. Nobody ever said that Domantas Sabonis was the perfect player. That has really nothing to do with the trade, to be completely honest with you. It's more about who are the teams that need a center and that are willing to take a chance on what Domantas Sabonis has been in Sacramento, or take a chance on what he could be doing different things. Because I don't think, he would be running a different offense most places he goes. So nobody has said that he was untouchable. If you want to admit that you missed Tyrese Halliburton, you could just do that too. That has nothing to do with really what we are talking about. From the 916, they want the 4th option, as we've been going through the options here as far as a full-blown blow up, trading the young pieces, trading one of the stars, if you will, or moving on from Mike Brown or Monty McNair, or both. 916 says 4th option, fire the GM and the coach, keep the current lineup, tank the remainder of the season, and go get Cooper Flagg. Look, that's not a horrible option. And Ace Bailey wouldn't be bad either, 916. Again, you got to sell this to sell this to De'Aaron Fox, who just talked about how he wants to see what this team turns into. So that's hard. That's hard. And then after that, if I'm not mistaken, he would be playing at that point. I guess he's just giving it another go. He doesn't take the extension and he goes into free agency with Cooper Flagg, who I like Cooper Flagg, but he'd still be a rookie. You can't keep putting all this on rookies. If you can't keep putting all this on rookies. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Tim. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Tim? What you got for us?
What's up, guys? This easy, no-brainer solution. Trade Fox. We're 8 years of not winning. He's not a leader. He's not an effort. We could trade him for someone with size. Instantly solves our problem. Monk could run the point with Devin Carter backing him up. It's not working with Fox. He's not a top star. You need a top star to win. He's got to go.
Wow, Tim. Okay, well, don't waste any time there. Big time Timmy Jim. Thank you for that call, Tim. Huh.
I like his decisiveness.
I do.
At least.
Like the decisiveness. Not sure. So what? But then you say
Monk running the point is rough.
It's an adventure.
That's
a lot.
Yeah. I mean, LA tried for like certain lineups, but I guess that was LA. He's definitely better here, but it's just a lot to put on a changing team and a lot of faith in Monk. I kind of appreciate that as well. That was very bold.
Well, I think the main thing here is how he ended the call, Tim, saying that you need a star. So I'm guessing, is Malik Monk a stopgap, or are you getting a future star? Right. I guess Malik would be a stopgap, or you're getting a big or somebody. Who are you getting back for De'Aaron Fox when you say you need a star, but you want to run it with Malik Monk and Devin Carter backing up? So who are you getting back for De'Aaron? Or are you just, like I said, stopgap, trying to tank type deal? That's my question. That would be my question to Tim. But Tim, Tim, you got it and got it out. I appreciate that. So look, you want to trade De'Aaron Fox? He's homegrown. It has been 8 years. It looked like he was taking a step in the right direction during those games where DeMar DeRozan was missing, and he was a big part of bringing DeMar DeRozan to the Kings. At the end of the day, you look at the other elite players in the league and you ask yourself, if they went through what De'Aaron Fox has gone through this season and you just plop them there, whether it be Luka or Shea or Ja, would this team be 9-12? Same exact thing, same exact games. Would this team be 9-12? And if your answer is yes, then I think you can keep De'Aaron. If your answer is no, those other players would have the Kings in a better situation, then I get that side of it as well. From the 916, I just tuned in hoping to get some measured Kings talks 20 games in. I feel like you're being a little bit sarcastic or cynical there, 916. And hearing blow everything up and trade Fox from the texters and callers, yikes, I'm not anywhere near full panic mode just yet. My question is, when would you be near panic mode? 916, 20 games in, hasn't looked great. There have been some injuries, but the roster is just messed up. Now, you don't have to trade De'Aaron Fox. We've been going through all the options. Like you said, you just tuned in. We went through trading the young pieces. We went through a full-blown blow-up. We went through moving off of one of the bigger pieces like De'Aaron Sabonis or DeRozan, or not doing anything and just firing Mike Brown and or Monty McNair. So we have gone through all the options here. People are just hopping in and saying what they should do. As we kind of discuss the different options, yeah, the Devin Carter thing, I don't know. De'Aaron Fox, this is how we kind of landed the last segment. De'Aaron Fox, I would probably keep him if I'm making a decision, because I do feel like there is a world where I don't know if this requires moving off of Mike Brown as well, as far as the offense, but if we saw De'Aaron do his thing And right now, DeMar DeRozan, because of Keegan Murray and the lack of offense you're getting from the rest of the team, it's De'Aaron, DeMar, and Sabonis. I do wonder, is there a world where you went to a different offense, you went more traditional, and you get a traditional big, and you get a 4 who is like, if you got, just hang with me here, all right? And I'm not doing the trade generator, but is this team better or worse if you swapped Jonas Valanciunas and Kyle Kuzma for Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis? Like, is that team better or worse? I'm not saying to do it, but obviously Domantas is a better talent than Domas. Or excuse me, Domas is better talent than Valanciunas. And I would say Kyle Kuzma is better right now. He's older and more expensive, but you're going to have to pay Keegan anyway than Keegan Murray. So that would be a more traditional lineup where Valanciunas does it. You're not running the offense through Valanciunas. You have Kyle Kuzma as a secondary scorer. You have DeMar DeRozan, who is just a kind of a stop the bleeding guy in his 35th year. His usage goes down. And you have De'Aaron Fox, who he's the main guy, right? I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying there's a world where I'd want to see that. I'd want to see a different offense. And maybe it's even this team not running the flow DHO anymore. I don't know. Maybe that's it. But I'm just, if it was less Domas dependent, let's see what De'Aaron Fox can truly do. You get him a solid center in Valanciunas. You get him a solid second option in Kyle Kuzma. Because the other question is Keegan Murray ever going to be as good as Kyle Kuzma? If you think he is, then I probably would say, Allen, I'm not listening to this. If you don't, and you got to pay Keegan anyway, I think it's a conversation. Phone lines are on fire right now. We will get back to them and clear those out before the 1 o'clock hour, where you have a chance to see Thomas Rhett at the Shoreline Amphitheater. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Christmas music is everywhere. The smell of gingerbread is in the air. And wait, what's that sound? It's Santa. He's headed back to Sacramento for the 41st Annual Santa Parade, December 14th in downtown Sacramento. Bring your entire family to the parade route around the Capitol for over 100 floats, including marching bands, pageant princesses, clowns, horses, and of course, Santa himself.
The 41st Annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 14th with Shriners Children's Northern California, Gurnick Academy, and the California Army National Guard. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Get more info at sacktownsports.com.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions, plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. All in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery from the law firm of Gingery, Hammer & Associates. When you have been injured by the fault of another, you will want advice you can trust. If you know an attorney you can trust, I hope you call that person. But if you don't, please call me. I promise I will be the attorney you can trust, along with my entire team. I have been helping accident survivors recover compensation for their injuries for 25 years, and we can help you. There is no charge for calling. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
Carmichael Dave here from my good friends at American Energy. Cool weather, if not cold weather, is in our future. You know that. It'll eventually get there, and American Energy wants to make sure your system is operating safely and properly. So now is the time to take advantage of the $49 fall tune-up inspection. That's regularly $119, but includes a full safety and duct inspection. And if your system's over 10 years old, it's free. The tune-up is on American Energy. Give them a call right now. They're offering $50 off your first recommended repair, or if you need a new furnace, that's half off the price of a new unit. American Energy been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You can check them out at theaeway.com for an instant quote. That's theaeway.com. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Black Friday has officially landed at Fasteners Inc. Sacramento. The best deals of the year on power tools are happening now from November 25th through December 2nd. Get low-price Makita Bear tools starting at just $89. Makita batteries starting at only $49, and so much more. Don't miss out on your chance to grab the hottest power tool deals of the year. But hurry, these deals won't last forever. Visit us in person at 6701 Power Inn Road, or shop online anytime at fastenersinc.net. Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet. Better tools, better prices. Tom's Watch Bar, your ultimate sports watching destination for all Kings games, hosted live by Sacktown Sports. With 360-degree viewing, surround sound, premium food and drink, and game day vibes that match being at the game. Tom's Watch Bar is the ultimate game day experience for all Sacramento Kings fans.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. 15 minutes, we will give away tickets to see Thomas Rhett at Shoreline Amphitheater. It's going to be September 27th, 2025. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Been to Shoreline once. It's nice out there. It's kind of a drive, but it is nice out there. Hit up the Folsom Lake Honda hotline in 15 minutes, 916-339-1140. A lot of people already have that number, and we're going to keep the calls going here. We're going to start with Ken that wants to be part of the convo. What's up, Ken? You're on Allen Stiles. What you got?
Hey, thanks a lot. You know, it's a loser's mentality to think about firing Mike Brown. That's what losers do. This problem that I see with the Kings is I see his players, okay? He doesn't shoot free throws, and he doesn't guard three-point shooters. Everybody that comes into Sacramento seems to have a record three-point shooting night. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is that this team does not adhere to their defensive rotations or play smart basketball when it needs it the most. And I love De'Aaron. He is the heart and soul of our team. But to me, he spends entirely too many times taking threes. And quite frankly, when you got his skill set that can get it to the paint, when you look at Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, this dude is shooting 9-10 free throws a game. That's what De'Aaron should be doing. And the same thing, because when I look at this team, when you look at the payments that they make, they got Fox on his contract, DeRozan on his, they're about to pay some bonus, and quite frankly, we've got to get more from Keegan. If Keegan doesn't develop, he's taking a step back. You got the number 4 draft pick. He's got to be a franchise guy, and now he's just a big player. That cannot happen, and if it does, the Kings are going to continue to be who they are. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Ken. Great stuff. Well, this isn't me saying it, but somebody would say that, hey, well, the Kings unable to make adjustments and Keegan's development, wouldn't that fall on Mike Brown and the coaching staff? I understand. I guess the whole thing of it is if we do the well, he's not shooting threes thing, and we do the well, he's not the one out there guarding thing, then what coach should ever be fired? And I'm not saying to fire Mike Brown. I'm just saying it's a bit of a slippery slope. So I don't know where that starts and ends. Sometimes it is just a matter of a new voice. I don't know. But when the players are also admitting that they are not executing what Mike Brown is telling them, it absolves Mike Brown in some way, but it also says, why aren't you doing it? Right? But maybe it is a roster thing. I'm not of the mindset to move on from Mike Brown, quite yet. I would like to see a better roster. I think this team, you give the same way we dropped in Ja Morant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all these other point guards instead of De'Aaron Fox, and asked what that record would be out of the available coaches right now. I guess, I don't think Budenholzer would have chosen the Kings over the Suns. I just don't think it would have happened. But out of the guys that were available, so we can't say Eric Spoelstra, who would have the Kings in a better situation, and how much better would it be? I don't know. John, I see you. We're going to get to our guy Steven first. What's up, Steven? What you got?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man?
Not much, brother. Not much, man. My thing right here, man, is I don't think getting rid of De'Aaron is an answer. I don't think that. I mean, come on, it's radio, man. So we gotta. Everybody can get it, as the theme is for today.
Mm-hmm.
But getting rid of De'Aaron, the boy is just entering his prime. The collective, the Kings organization, and De'Aaron have stuck with each other, man. You know what I mean? They have I don't know, man. They have a really special relationship, and I think giving up on him is, I wouldn't say necessarily giving up on him, but I'm going to say it anyway, man. But giving up on him right when he was about to enter his prime it just doesn't work. Plus, where is he going to be another number one at? I think this is his only position right now that he has to where he can be a true number one on a team. Because if he goes anywhere else, he's going to be a two. He's going to be a true B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he won't be a 1A or a true one like he will be on this team. I think it starts and ends with Monty. Unfortunately, we had to wait until Trey Lyles, got out of the picture and got injured in order for him to bring Jay Crowder in, even though we worked out Jay Crowder before the season. Jay Crowder's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that literally night one. That boy is a dog. He was talking all of the mess in Julius Randle's face because they have history. They have beef that stretches way before he was even here. So, I mean, you could just see it. He's a dog. We've always needed a dog, and that boy is it. So I'm kind of in the boat where we are literally just one move away because we have solid pieces. It's just this team is lacking a lot of confidence. I feel like, man, these guys are just not coming into these rodeos, man, ready to ride the bull, man. It's just they're kind of tiptoeing a little bit. Also, not executing Mike Brown's game plan. Last night when I was listening to the game, the great Gary G, he was literally saying, from what I see in practice and the execution of what I see in practice is two completely different things. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said, man. From what he sees in practice, it's just two different things. They're not executing what he sees in practice, and that is a problem. And I don't necessarily know how to even continue that conversation with that, because what is it? Do we have to trade away a big piece to kind of light a little fire underneath everybody? I don't know, man. But that's kind of my piece, man. I really appreciate you guys letting me have it, dude. Thank you.
Thanks, Steven. Great stuff. And I think we can all agree at this point that outside of De'Aaron, DeRozan, and Sabonis, everybody is on the table. Unless you're in the semi-blow-up conversation, when people are calling in and saying stuff that Steven is saying, we're one piece away. The way I'm hearing it, and I think I know Sacramento fans pretty well at this point, Keegan is now in that conversation. Whereas I don't think anybody has Keegan untouchable today at 12:52 on December 2nd. I just don't think you can. So you have to make decisions here. On the De'Aaron Fox front, though, and somebody on the text line is saying he might walk in free agency anyway. Look, I would be worried about those Houston teams. I'll tell you that right now. Or excuse me, those Texas teams. He is from Houston. The Rockets, I could see the Rockets thinking that De'Aaron is a piece. He could be a number one out there. Does that make them contenders? Depends on how much you like Şengün and Fred VanVleet, but that's interesting to me from De'Aaron's perspective, right? And if you did want to think about a trade, obviously they're not going to want to move off Şengün, but the Rockets have some pieces. keeping it in Texas, San Antonio, right? They got Stephon Castle. That's a young guard who's pretty darn good. You get De'Aaron with Wemby. That accelerates their process. So there are more, and going back to the texter that said the whole Tyrese Halliburton Sabonis thing, there's just more options as far as De'Aaron is concerned. That's why it would hurt more, because there are more options for that. Let's get to John before we get to a break. 916-339-1140. What's up, John? What you got for us?
Hey, thanks for taking the call.
Of course.
I see it as we have two core problems. The first one is we have a DM who is offensively minded, and we have a coach that is defensively minded.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a disconnect there, and it's obvious that it's not working because he went out and got DeRozan, and DeRozan, we all hoped would have worked, but it doesn't. It isn't fitting in. And that goes to the second part of what I'm thinking, and that is that De'Aaron Fox has proven to us that he doesn't play as aggressively and as well when there's another number one on the court. Tyrese Halliburton was the first example, and the second example is now with DeRozan. And because of that, what we're seeing is Fox is deferring to the other number one or number two, whatever you want to call it. And that's not Fox, because when Fox is by himself, he scores 49, he scores 60. And we're not seeing that when he and DeRozan are on the floor at the same time. So I just see two disconnects here. I don't know how to solve it, but when you look at it from 30,000 feet, it just doesn't seem like we've got the right personnel all the way around.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking my call.
No, appreciate the call, John. Yeah, look, you take it to the business world. You can be a director at a startup, right, and be making pretty good money, okay? But you got to do a lot because it's a startup. So you could do your work there for 8 years, and then you decide, you know what? I think I'm going to take this job at this bigger corporation. The pay is pretty similar. I might have to be an assistant director or a senior manager, but the pay is actually very similar, and I don't have to do as much. I just have to do what's literally on my job description. Maybe that's where De'Aaron's at. Maybe he just wants to be a senior manager at this point and get paid about the same, but you're at a bigger, you get to tell people you work at this bigger company and not the small startup. Maybe that's where he's at. All right, let's talk about teams that knew when it was time to quit with their cores and when they decided to blow it up. And we also still have that Mike Brown sound from the Blazers loss. You're not going to want to miss that. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Yep, 'tis the season. Hey, if you take pride in your gift giving, here's a great idea for you. Gift cards from the Good Feet store. Okay, so arch supports aren't exactly what they've been hinting for, but you know they'd love them. And with the Good Feet lifetime warranty, it's a gift they'll enjoy forever. Buy a Good Feet gift card now, and Good Feet will boost its value 20%. That's a 20% gift from the Good Feet store. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville, and in Reno on South Virginia Street.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Did you know that replacing garage doors is the biggest return on investment homeowners can get on improvements? Jason Ross here, and let me tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, a family-owned and operated company with third-generation owners that's been in business for 71 years right here in Sacramento. With new garage doors from Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, you'll not only get the wow factor, but you'll also know that you're working with a well-respected and proven company. Residential and commercial, brand new garage doors, or repairs to existing doors, they do it all. Take advantage of their free at-home estimates on new garage doors, or check out the showroom with no appointment needed. And while you're at it, mention me, Jason Ross, or Sacktown Sports, and receive $100 off a new garage door paired with a new garage door opener. Check out their website at ohdsac.com or call them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Black Friday savings on now on the all-new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. With $8,000 off MSRP after rebates, every new 2025 half-ton LT, RST, LTZ, and High Country in stock at Maida Chevy. Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections of new 2025 Silverados in the Sacramento area. $8,000 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available. Special financing, leasing, time of office. Ends 12/1/24. Source internet search 11224.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time from down by the league.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
One more hour with you. Going to continue to rock and roll with the Kings, but don't worry, we'll have plenty of Niners throughout the week. Rough stuff for you Kings-Niners fans out there, but yeah, the Niners just did not look good. Well, you know it's going to look good. You at the Shoreline Amphitheater listening to Thomas Rhett. We're giving away a pair of tickets to see Thomas Rhett at the Shoreline Amphitheater on September 27th next year. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Hit up the Folsom Lake Honda hotline right now, looking for caller number 5 to win. Caller number 5. Caller number 5, 916-339-1140. 916-339-1140. 916-339-1140. We're looking for caller number 5. For more info, visit sacktownsports.com. Caller number 5. Anthony is going to take that lucky number and give you those pair of tickets. As we continue the conversation, we're going to get to that Mike Brown sound probably after the break here, because Anthony is handling the phones and we got to play that as well. And here the calls are coming in. Thomas Rhett. I got to go listen to a Thomas Rhett song on the way back. Maybe I already have one saved. I got to see. I wanted to talk about teams that understood that they've reached their ceiling and they were okay with moving on. I also want to talk about how often, if you are a retool person or we are a one piece away person, give me the situation. And I know, and we can just do if you got to the finals, because winning is tough with what the Warriors have done, what LeBron has done. Not a lot of teams have won the finals. I get that. At least the last decade or so. So I understand that. But teams that realized it wasn't working and they blew it up, or teams that realized it wasn't working, tried to retool and blow it up. And what you'll find is that's a lot of the same thing. As I have these names written down, and please chime in if I've forgotten some, but I'm looking at Dame and CJ with the Portland Trail Blazers, right? They tried to bring in a couple guys. At one point, I think they had Nurkic. You know, they had different dudes that they tried to fit in, and it just didn't work. They eventually said, hey, you know, they move on from CJ, and then you have Dame doing what he did, and eventually he leaves. I look at the Wizards, John Wall and Bradley Beal. They had a couple moments. They tried to work some things around. John Wall moves on. It's the Bradley Beal show, and it eventually goes under. And they're still trying to get back. So that's the other part of this when we're talking about teams that did blow it up. Where are they now? Right? You ever see those shows? Oh, that child star. Where are they now? Luka and Jalen Brunson. That version, and you could use Luka in a couple different situations. The Mavs, again, I've said it before. The Mavs, that's the epitome of aggressive to me. They move off things real quick. Y'all got that friend that's got a new boyfriend or girlfriend every single week, every other month? That's the Mavs. They do not waste time. So I would say Luka and Porzingis, and then Luka and Jalen Brunson. They decided that wasn't going to work. They bring in Kyrie. They go to the finals. The process. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. Trust the process. They tried. Ben couldn't stay on the court, and now Joel Embiid couldn't stay on the court. They are one of those retoolers. They are able to they get a Tyrese Maxey. They draft a Tyrese Maxey who's been in another hit. But they signed a Tobias Harris. They tried to make that work. Didn't work out. He's moved on. Kelly Oubre's playing way more often. Okay, well, who's better than Kelly? Let's get a Paul George. Now, maybe that's injury riddled, maybe, but they have nothing to show for it. You could put the Boston Celtics in the situation to where they did retool. It took them a very long time, but they finally got their championship. Kyrie didn't work. Kemba Walker didn't work. People wanted them to break up. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they refused, and they found a way to get it done. The James Harden Rockets, some could argue if it was anybody but that Warriors team in front of them, they'd have a championship. But they ran out okay. It's James Harden, it's Clint Capella, it's CP3. They're trying to get over the hump, Can't do it. James Harden moves on. The Thunder. Now, some of that was Kevin Durant choosing to leave, to be fair. But the Thunder. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant decides he's the one that's going to leave. They got to the finals. Couldn't get over the hump. The last one I have, not to say I'm missing anybody. Please let me know if I am. The Lob City Clippers. They missed their window. They had a window right before the Warriors figured things out. Would they lose to the Spurs for no apparent reason? Wouldn't work out. Blake Griffin, CP3, DeAndre Jordan, couldn't do it. Got to blow it up. Got to move forward. One guy, two guy, another guy. Got to move forward. Somebody is putting the Minnesota Timberwolves in there. I think that remains to be seen. They played really well last season. They've actually, I just said the Mavericks are the most aggressive. I got to put the Timberwolves in there too, because they gave that new group, okay, with Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, they gave them 2 years. The first year they stunk. The second year, they get to the Western Conference semis. They didn't get to the West. They made it
to the Western Conference Finals.
Okay, so they lost. Denver. They beat Denver. They lose to the Mavs. They decide that's not good enough. So and part of that is money. We get all that, but Karl Anthony Towns, thank you for your service. Julius Randle. Now the Timberwolves, they're right now, they're in 11th. They're 9-10. So maybe it doesn't work out for you. It's still early. So I can't put the Timberwolves, I can put them in the category of aggressive. I can't say the blowing up. I don't know what to do with them, to be completely honest with you. 916, because they're not giving anything time. But out of those teams that tried to retool, how many success stories are there? My point in that being, as we have these conversations about the Kings, when someone says, oh, we're just one piece away, let's retool and get back after it, what are you saying? What are you saying the Kings are going to do? I guess the situation there, you could argue, is the Heat and Jimmy Butler. So they have a couple finals runs. The Heat, they go get Jimmy Butler and they're able to do some things. They didn't get over the hump, but we said we would count finals as well. So you could count the Heat, but how many retooling situations end up a success? And what is your definition of success? Because if you're saying, hey, let's move Keegan or whoever it is and just get into the dance. I don't care if you're a second round exit. That's fine. If that's what you're okay with. It's to the point now where, especially when you're talking about value, I would be having a blow up conversation just as much as I'm having a move off of Keegan Murray, move off of anybody conversation, because the goal is championships. So what are you going to get out there that is going to put you in a position to where you are able to win a championship? And if you don't feel like you're going to be able to do that, then maybe you should blow it up. I think it was the 209 or the 916. They said that, what's the problem with getting a King's ransom back for De'Aaron Fox if we don't think he's going to be a number one when he leaves anyway? I think that's a great point, because if the whole thing is De'Aaron Fox not being a number one again, that's just my opinion, by the way, then what makes him qualified to be a number one on this team, unless your goal is not to win a championship or your goal is to just get to the playoffs? So if we don't think he's going to be a number one when he leaves, why should he be a number one here? And that's not to say that he can't be a number one to 1A to 1B, but maybe the answer is, well, Sabonis isn't a good enough 1B, or it's not the right fit, or DeMar DeRozan is not the right fit. You can tinker, or just blow up. When I read off all these teams, besides the Celtics, who they stuck at it, and they refused to say that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum couldn't work together. Another team I would bring up is the Donovan Mitchell Utah Jazz. They had a couple good runs. They decided, hey, it's just not working. We're just going to blow it up. I would say the Nuggets are probably one of the best retool stories. They get Aaron Gordon. Okay, we're close. They get KCP. Okay, we're close. That's why going into this season, last season, y'all heard me talk about the Nuggets being compared, or the Kings using the Nuggets model. We can retool.
I think the Celtics, to your point, the Celtics did stick with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, but they also did go through a lot of being good and retooling their role players. Mm-hmm. So they're, in a way, a story of retooling going well, especially getting rid of Marcus Smart. That went tremendously well for them.
Right.
But they did luck out and get Drew Holiday and Porzingis for next to nothing.
And nobody saw Derek White being this. Nobody saw Peyton Pritchard being this. So the Celtics, they've just nailed it, man. I don't necessarily know what to do with that. They've just nailed it. I guess another one to blow it up and move forward would be OKC. Again, they haven't gone to a finals yet, so we shouldn't count them, but we could. The Knicks, they never really had anything to blow up as of late. They just finally got convinced guys to come to their team, I guess.
Unless you go all the way back to Porzingis, but I don't think that. I think just they lucked out on Jalen Brunson.
You know who's another retooling situation, and I know it's not fair because they haven't been healthy. The Pelicans. I know they haven't been healthy, but they're 4-17. But they felt like, hey, we've hit a limit. They don't even really want Brandon Ingram. They have Zion who can't stay healthy. But instead of blowing it up, they could get a lot of value for. I think it's too late for Brandon Ingram because he wants to get paid, but could have got a lot of value for Brandon Ingram, Zion, whatever it is. They tried to retool, hasn't worked out so far. I mean, they're 4-17. We know it's a lot due to injury, but this season is probably cooked for them. And another team I would put in the category is the Suns. The Suns, they got to a finals with Devin Booker, CP3. They couldn't get over the hump. They were up 2-0. Suns in 4. They end up losing to the Bucks. They decide, okay, well, CP3, thank you for your service. We're going to open up our checkbook. Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, we're going the big 3 model. And they're 11-8 right now, dealt with some injuries. We'll see how it works out for them. They haven't been to a finals either. So there are a lot of stories of retooling. There's not a lot of championships out of retooling. The Nuggets are probably the most recent one. So that all the retoolers, and I'm not saying to blow it up. I'm just saying all the retoolers out there, what are you actually retooling? And give me those examples besides, I know they're not a ton, but the Nuggets and teams like that, what else is out there? Okay, let's hear from Mike Brown after the Blazers lost on the other side. This is where he was a little bit more fiery. Unfortunately, it did end in another loss to the Spurs, but if you think Mike Brown isn't getting fed up with this, you got another thing coming. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sactown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for 3, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Do you need a new health insurance plan? Now is the time to get one. Literally. If you want Affordable Care Act coverage that starts January 1st, just make sure you apply by December 15th. But don't stress, Health Markets can help. At healthmarkets.com, you can look for available plans or find a licensed insurance agent. They'll answer your questions and when you're ready, even help you apply for your plan. Start the new year off with a plan that fits your needs and budget by visiting healthmarkets.com. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency nationwide except in Massachusetts.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
We will be joined by Whitey Gleason in a little bit here as we continue to break down all things Kings. Congrats to our Thomas Rhett ticket giveaway winner. Congrats to you. We will continue that throughout the week, so don't miss out on your chance to win those tickets. If you do miss out on a chance to win those tickets, they go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m., September 25th, 2025. Yes, we are already talking about 2025. And I know we say it every year, but the year really did fly by this season, or this year. It really did. I know, say it every single year, but honestly, it was March and then it was November. That's what happened. And I know things have flown by for Mike Brown, as 1 second they not like us, they nothing like us, and the next second y'all all on the hot seat. That seat's warming up. Okay, let's hear from Mike Brown. If you didn't hear, this is Mike Brown from the Portland Trail Blazers post game after they lost that one. Here it is.
You got to give Portland credit. They figured out a way to get a win, but the thing that I'm extremely disappointed in, I'm extremely disappointed in our guys' ability to mentally come into a game like this and lock in. We had 14 turnovers in the first half, and at least 3/4 of them were unforced. Just throwing the ball all over the place, dribbling it off our foot, real soft and careless with the basketball. To come on the road, no matter who's injured, who's not injured, and have 20 turnovers, when 3/4 of them were probably unforced. It's just unacceptable. Unacceptable. 20 turnovers for 24 points. Taking a step further, we talked about the whole 2 days, these guys. They want to hit the paint. They want to hit the paint. They want to hit the paint. We have to shift. We got to stay in front of the ball. And we need somebody to be able to guard the dribble drive. They were going past us almost every single play with zero resistance. We can't just think about getting out and scoring. They had 64 points in the paint. 64 points in the paint and shot 29% from the three. They didn't shoot enough threes. We kept telling our guys, shrink the floor, but it starts with guarding the frickin' ball. We have to have somebody that wants to guard the ball and not just get out and score an offense. 64 paint points, 19 second chance points. Those are the two things we told them. Box out and shift to contain the dribble drive. Box out and shift to contain the dribble drive. And a telltale sign of this game tonight, there were 10 50-50 balls, 10 loose balls, 10 of them. We got one of them, and it came with less than 5 minutes to go. And there were plenty of times that ball's bouncing, I got guys trying to run out in transition. We have to figure out if we want to help this team by doing the little things. We got a lot of guys that want to score. A lot of guys that say this about the offense or that about the offense. We got to figure out if we want to come, not most nights, not some nights, but every night and do our job defensively. And it starts with guarding the ball, then boxing out while making sure that we shift. We got to do our job defensively and then move the ball offensively from side to side. And if the ball is bouncing, don't leak out until we get it. Just basic fundamental basketball about being locked in. Just disappointing tonight, starting with me. Disappointing from me on down.
That was Coach Mike Brown after the Blazers loss, which, like we've been saying, probably the worst one, because that was the one of the nights where you actually did guard the three. The Blazers, 11 for 37 from three-point land for 29.7%. I mean, they didn't even shoot it well. And they're the Blazers. They stink. They're 8-12, which is pretty similar to the Kings now at this point. But Mike Brown is just at a loss. He's at a loss for words. Malik Monk had 29 in that game. Domantas Sabonis had 21, 14, and 11. Got a triple-double. Jay Crowder had 10. De'Aaron Fox had 22. That was the game a lot of people were getting on Keegan. 3 points, 6 rebounds. He's 1 for 9 from the field. Keon Ellis, 6 points. Isaac Jones had 7. I mean, Isaac Jones been playing really well, but, it's just not enough. Kevin Huerter played in that one. He didn't play much, the 7 minutes. He had that ankle issue. Jordan McLaughlin actually played in that game 12 minutes, had 2 points. So, that's what's tough. You hear something like that, and that's what gets tough about the Mike Brown conversation. Maybe it is a change of voice thing. I don't know, because I don't know a lot of different coaches that would handle that situation terribly differently. I mean, you're still going to, he didn't necessarily undress the team in front of the media, but he let the media know. I mean, this is not telling them to go out there and play soft and not do their jobs. They're just refusing to do it. So what do you do with that? Is it a voice thing? How does it go south so quickly? I from what we've seen, I mean, I guess it's more Malik Monk, but thought everybody likes Mike Brown, respects Mike Brown. Are they just incapable? What is it? What is it with this team? Because you hear something like that and you just think, okay, I mean, they're clearly being told the right things to do, and they're just not doing it. So what do we do when they're being told the right things, but they're just deciding not to do it? All right, let's keep the conversation going. 916-339-1140. If you want to be a part of the conversation, let's try to get a little bit optimistic here with the Sacramento Kings. And then we will be joined by Whitey Gleason, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Kings Cyber Monday deals are here. Cheer on the Sacramento Kings with slam dunk deals this holiday season. Save up to 25% on Kings tickets. Take 25% off Kings gear in the team store. You can even elevate your game day with 20% off experiences on the Kings home court at Golden One Center. Don't miss out on scoring these deals for all the Kings fans on your list. These incredible deals are only here for a limited time. Check out all the offers for tickets, gear, experiences, and more at kings.com/Cyber Monday.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Kyle Draper. Equip your staff with top-notch uniforms, professionally cleaned and delivered weekly to your workplace by Alsco Uniforms, proud sponsors of the Sacramento Kings Mob Crew. Our services include uniforms, towels, floor mats, mops, first aid supplies, and restroom essentials to uphold cleanliness and safety standards in your business. Discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Visit alsco.com to learn more. Again, visit alsco.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Harbor Freight knows tool people like to keep busy. But with our Black Friday sale now through Monday, you'll want to free up some time. We're talking deals like our 5,000-watt generators under $800, 17-foot reach ladders for $99.99, and 40% off Icon Pro socket sets. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until 12/2/24. While supplies last. Limitations apply.
There's never been a better time than now to get yourself into a brand new Jeep, because we're still celebrating Black Friday all month long at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And there's a reason people keep coming back, because it's the place where a handshake still means something. Off Business 80 across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. And Merry Christmas from Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Black Friday has officially landed at Fasteners Inc. Sacramento. The best deals of the year on power tools are happening now from November 25th through December 2nd. Get low-price Makita Bear tools starting at just $89. Makita batteries starting at only $49, and so much more. Don't miss out on your chance to grab the hottest power tool deals of the year. But hurry, these deals won't last forever. Visit us in person at 6701 Power Inn Road, or shop online anytime at fastenersinc.net. Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet. Better tools, better prices.
Ready for winter? Forecasters are already predicting record sick days. Don't become a healthcare statistic. Fight sickness with fitness. Create a daily workout and stick to it. Let the Good Feet store help you meet your workout goals. With Good Feet Arch Supports, the pain in your feet, knees, hips, and back become history. And Good Feet Arch Supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Visit goodfeet.com for an appointment or just stop in. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Vacaville, and in Reno on South Virginia Street.
Bell Brothers presents our end-of-year warehouse clearance with our lowest prices of the year. Everything in our inventory must go. Save big on new furnaces, water heaters, AC units, and more. Plus, receive an instant rebate of up to $2,000 on select furnace and AC systems, and a free standard water heater with installation, and 0 payments, 0 interest financing. Call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234, or go online to theNoSurpriseGuys.com. These deals will not last long. If you have been putting off getting a new heating and cooling system or replacing your old water heater, now is the time to take action. It's Bell Brothers end-of-year warehouse clearance. Our in-home estimates and second opinions are always free. Right now is the best time to save up to $2,000 on select heating and cooling systems. Plus, receive a free standard water heater with installation. Plus, 0 payments, 0 interest financing. Get all the details at theNoSurpriseGuys.com. Financing based on approved credit.
No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, 30 more minutes with you. This is from the 5-3-0. If you look at Luke Laux, who is one of the assistant coaches, kind of heads that defense. If you look at Luke Laux on the bench after some of these defensive positions, you can see his frustration often. Just shows you this team is so dysfunctional on defense right now. Terrible rotations, low effort, fighting around screens, etc. As bad as shooting as the shooting has been, defense is the main reason for many of these losses. Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. 5-3-0, and Malik talked about it, and it's funny because these guys will all tell you the same thing. De'Aaron's told you the same thing when they're on the court. So the communication piece, switching when they're not supposed to switch, is that a Mike Brown thing? Is that a Luke Laux thing? Is that just a player thing? What is it? What is it? Why are things off? Let's have some fun with this one. This texter has a lot of ideas here. Okay, let's hear it. The 916. This team has to realize it's rebuild time. Hang with me here. Might have to write this down. I got a pen. All right, I found one. So we have Fox to Miami. Fox to Miami. Okay. And then they have, here we go. Fox to Miami for Tyler Hero and Robinson, Jovic for salary fillers and 2 firsts. That's a lot for De'Aaron Fox. Then Sabonis to New Orleans for Ingram, JRE, Daniel Tice, and 2 firsts. Rebalance the roster with shooting and playmaking, sheds money, and tanks this team for Cooper Flag. Wow.
It's thought through.
That is hardcore, 916. Now, I don't know if you thought the first were coming to you, but there is no way. I don't think that the Pelicans are Jeremy Robinson Earl, that's JRE, and you're talking about Daniel Tice. You might be able to get those first from the Pelicans, but you're giving them, or you're getting Brandon Ingram. I know Pelicans don't have a lot of leverage there, but I don't think you're getting 2 firsts from both of those teams.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. But I appreciate how thoughtful that was. And, you really are, you might be onto something with the premise. I just think you're not going to get all that back because if you're getting Tyler Hero and some of the guys that you mentioned, they're not also going to give you 2 firsts. But I appreciate that. From the 916. Jeff on the text line said, kind of feels like the players are trying to get coach fired by not doing what he's asking. That is, again, I love a tinfoil hat. I don't think that's the case because everybody's livelihood is on the line. That would be full on mutiny. And I don't think they'd be doing that. I think that if things were that bad, we never would have got to the extension. Yeah. I think something would have came out, especially with De'Aaron being a clutch guy. I just think that if De'Aaron, who is the head of that snake, no pun intended, if that was going to get out, Mike never makes it into the season. I don't think.
I think that they're trying. Because from the Blazers game, just from Portland to the home game against San Antonio, the issue in Portland was not guarding the dribble drive. Right. Then in San Antonio, or at home against San Antonio, they stopped guarding the 3 because they were overhelping.
Right.
And so they're half trying, and then there's mid-game adjustments like Malik and Mike Brown were talking about, just miscommunication on the defensive schemes that seem to be really weird. Like we talked about it earlier, you stick or you switch.
Yeah.
Those are the schemes.
You know what?
You should know what to do.
Well, I just think, and I'm trying to say this as respectfully as possible, their team IQ is just not very good. And I don't know if that's a Mike Brown thing or it's just the cohesiveness of the team is not very good. So I do a little bit of, and I know you listeners already know this, but I'm telling Anthony, who, if you just recently joined us, Anthony, Sacramento native, is going to be helping out doing some producing for us. He produces some of the other programs that we have at the station. Kyle Ledbetter is out today. He'll be back this week. But I'm telling Anthony here. So Anthony, some people call me the hit doctor, okay? Because I do some training out here with some kids that are looking to be better hitting the baseball, okay? And what it reminds me of, and what you reminded me of when you said last game they couldn't guard the dribble drive. Now this game we couldn't guard the dribble drive, so now all of a sudden we're going to overhelp on the dribble drive. Now there's a bunch of open threes. They don't understand the nuance of being able to do both. And it reminds me of some of the kids that I'll train with, and you tell them, hey, you got to be early on a 2-0. You got to be early on a 2-0 fastball, or ball inside, you got to be early. And you tell them that. So we need to focus on being early. Then you're throwing them batting practice, and then they're pulling everything. You're pulling every single pitch. You say, no. You only need to be early on inside pitches. That's when you're early. So then you say, so wait a little bit. What do? They're late on everything. Now they're getting jammed. They are not able to do both. And it feels like this Kings team is just, for whatever reason, I'm not saying their IQ separately isn't high, but together they remind me of about a 12-year-old hitter who you tell them one thing, they zero in on one thing. Then you say, no, you got to do something else. Then they zero in on the other thing. They are unable to have that nuance where it's, okay, well, Coach Allen said that I'm supposed to be early on inside pitches, but that pitch is outside, so I'm going to take it the other way. That they can't do that. And I don't know why. I agree. It's insane to watch it happen. It's interesting to watch the adjustments mid-game as well. And there's also multiple moments where the players are expecting other teammates to do things that the other teammates are expecting the other player to do. There's so many miscommunications on switches and sticks. It's so bad. Especially, this is specifically for the Spurs game, because the Spurs game in every statistical category was a great game for the Kings. Yeah. Except for the fact that they can't guard the three and they can't shoot the three very well. They actually shot 37% from three. It doesn't make sense why they're losing these games. It's all the dumb fouls. They were in the bonus with 10 minutes left to go in the game. It was just a complete breakdown on both sides of the floor in the weirdest way possible. It was almost like a mental thing. They cannot, getting back to the comparison, it's just they can't put it all together, right? And if now that same kid, now it's you finally got hitting, right? And now they miss a cutoff man, or they forget how to field a ground ball. They just can't put a complete game together. One day they're defending a little bit better, so then, of course, they're not going to be able to shoot. The next day they're shooting well, so of course now they forget how to guard. Even more specifically, now they're going to on one end, they finally hit a curveball their first at bat, second at bat, they get jammed on a fastball. I mean, they cannot put a complete game together. And unlike these 12-year-olds, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars and they have some expectations on them. Mike on the Sac Chat is saying, he says, I don't know why we aren't talking about how well Malik Monk performed in his first start. Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about that. It got overshadowed because they're 1-6 and they lost. That's it. You know, I mean, maybe we can say, is this the start of something that could grow? But this is what Mike Brown was afraid of. There wasn't any scoring off the bench. I know Kevin Huerter's hurt right now and Trey Lyles, but you're going all in, you know? And I think the other thing about Malik Monk starting and playing well isn't this all what we expected? I mean, the only other option is the lights were too bright for Malik Monk and he just didn't play well, but he played the same way. I don't think he necessarily played any better than he did as a bench player, as a sixth man, but you just got it sooner. So shout out to Malik Monk. Unfortunately, you still lost the game and you're 1-6. So that's what we're going to talk about. Now, you come out and we can go over, we'll continue to go over what the Kings have on deck, but you go out and you stack up a couple wins with Malik as a starter, I think we'll all feel much better about it. I mean, Malik even said it felt horrible. Malik even said it felt horrible for what he was doing simply because they didn't get the W. So, everybody is happy with what Malik Monk did. Just what are we going to talk about? They lost the game. Go out, beat the Rockets. Nobody, I can't wait to see do they even have a win in the Emirates Cup? Let's see. They lost to the Timberwolves initially. They lost to the Clippers. No, they are winless in the Emirates Cup for whatever it's worth. But they get their last game against the Rockets at home, Golden One Center, a team that you struggled with last season. Go out and beat them. There's unfortunately Malik Monk has to be a footnote just based on everything else that's going on. He might be starting moving forward because they're going to have a completely different roster if they don't start winning games. But he did ball out last night. He did his thing. And and again, that was the first quarter before the monster wore off. The monster wears off and they cannot generate any momentum on their own. I don't get it. But Malik did ball. All right. Whitey Gleason joins us. A little bit of crosstalk to end the show. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Christmas music is everywhere. The smell of gingerbread is in the air. And wait, what's that sound? It's Santa. He's headed back to Sacramento for the 41st Annual Santa Parade, December 14th in downtown Sacramento. Bring your entire family to the parade route around the Capitol for over 100 floats, including marching bands, pageant princesses, clowns, horses, and of course, Santa himself.
The 41st Annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 14th with Western Health Advantage, Gurnick Academy, and the California Army National Guard. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Get more info at sacktownsports.com.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton and Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers too. Consultation's free, and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Yeah. To me, I call it rebuilding on the fly, and it's really difficult. And to me, even if you do it somewhat successfully, there's still a ceiling on what you can accomplish.
Right.
You can be, hey, we're pretty good for an extended period. Okay, but is that your goal? Are you trying to be a championship team? There are no shortcuts to that in the NBA.
Yeah. Look, all the names were on the table, even a DeMar DeRozan. I eliminated DeMar DeRozan simply because I honestly think that Mr. Vivek really likes having DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento. I think that his value is probably the hardest to figure out because how many teams are looking for what he's going to bring. And I do think if you did decide to move on from the other big names like Fox or Sabonis, he would be the person you wouldn't have to worry about.
I would think the good news is that by the time the deadline rolls around, you're going to have a really clear idea. And like right now, it sure looks bad.
Yes.
You could talk yourself into thinking, well, if they fix this or that, they get healthier, maybe they start playing better. I don't know that that's true, but you can make that case. Whereas by the time the deadline's here, you're probably going to know whether that's true or not.
Well, I use the same comparison to a relationship. Of course you do. If you spent 5 years if you knew going ahead of time, hey, you could either spend 5 years with someone or it's not going to work, or you could just spend the 5 months. Now, somebody would say, well, what about our memories? But most people would say, give me the 5 months. I'll just take the 5 months so I don't waste my time.
Are you talking about your relationship with Andrew? Is that what you're?
It's Anthony, number one. And number two.
I've only met the guy 6 times.
No, it's not close enough. And number two,
Thank you, Anthony.
No, I'm not.
My apologies.
I'm just saying it would be better to know, or at least we know. And you're saying the deadline. I think we know now. I mean, okay, get healthy. They can't get healthy.
Yeah, I know. I understand. And we had Jerry Reynolds on last week. We have him on every week. And Kyle asked him. I think I might have mentioned this to you. Kyle asked him, well, do you know yet? And Jerry said, you kind of know what you got by now.
You know what you got, so I don't, what are you waiting for? What about the Mike Brown stuff? Because
why is it, Allen and Anthony, why is it that now if you're a fan of a team and you have a coach and they don't win every game and they've never won a championship and that coach maybe makes a mistake, it's like, oh, get rid of him. Everybody now is like the coach. Well, there's like Kyle Shanahan. He's been pretty good. Now they haven't won a championship. I know they've come really close.
Yeah.
And every coach makes mistakes. Isn't there some middle ground? Like, wow, Coach so-and-so, in this case, Coach Brown, there's probably some things he needs to do better.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be, get rid of him? That's it, gone.
I would say the Shanahan stuff, and I have seen it out there. I know it's out there, but the Shanahan stuff is way more egregious because of what he's done.
Fair enough. Gotcha.
Okay. The Mike Brown stuff, I understand why it's coming up, whether I agree with it or not. I still think that if we're sitting here, hey, how's Isaac? We got to check in on Isaac Jones. Is he playing? And I'm sitting here banging the table over Jordan McLaughlin. That's a problem.
I think that a lot of people who think it's the coach's fault probably have overestimated how good this roster is, in my opinion. That said, I will also say, if you go back to Friday night, and I know everybody was celebrating the holiday still, after the game Friday night, I don't know if you heard Coach Brown. I mean, he said some things like, wow.
We played
said, okay, great.
Yeah, we played
We told them what to do, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, we played it.
Okay, and maybe that's not his fault, but if that's going on, that's a problem.
But if that's going on, maybe it's not X's and O's. Maybe it's
Jimmy's and Joe's?
Well, the Jimmy's and Joe's would be, hey, maybe his voice isn't hitting the same.
I know. That is
I don't
an
know
issue.
if that helps. I don't know if that helps.
He touched on that a little bit last night, not to the degree that he had on Friday, but that was, and Kyle Draper is the one that asked him a couple of those questions. I got to give him a ton of credit, which I will when he joins us here. But yeah, did you hear him at the end? Kyle says, so, you want guys to stay in front of their men. Is that just a matter of personal pride? And Mike Brown said, why don't you ask them? It's like, wow.
Yeah. And then you come out and
there is an issue.
But that's a problem.
Yeah.
When you come out and you lose to the Spurs.
Yes, I agree.
So he went all in.
You're right. Yeah.
He went all in. Okay, this has got to be rock bottom. I'm going to let him have it, and we're going to move forward. Malik is starting. I'm there at Tom's bar last night, had a great time. And the game starts. It's rocking and rolling. Malik Monk is out there.
Still getting a plug in there in the middle of all that.
Well, I got to. And Whitey, I know you sick with your Diet Pepsis, but there's a little bit of sugar in them.
This is not diet.
Well, the can looks diet.
It's not diet. It is not.
Well,
There's
even if it
nothing on
was,
there that says diet.
Well, even if it was, I wouldn't judge you.
Apology accepted.
All right. The crash from your sugar crash from your Diet Pepsi, it's the same thing that they deal with in the game. First quarter, they're on that sugar high. They got Scott Moak screaming and everybody's hyped.
Why do you think that would be, Alan?
I don't know.
Do you think it might have anything to do with the fact that Wembanyama played the most minutes of anybody on the Spurs last night? Your 5 starters for the Kings all played more minutes than Wembanyama. Could that have something to do with your staying power? That you go and look at the bench
Whitey,
and go,
it's not even in the fourth.
Whoa.
No, I get that, but we're not even talking about the fourth. But this has been an issue for a while now. And maybe the roster's been an issue for a while now. That's fine. I'm just saying.
It's good Diet Pepsi.
Regular Pepsi. It looks diet to me. We got Andrew and a Diet Pepsi. That's the new name of the show.
Looks diet.
It's a white can.
Made with, what does that say? Made with what? Real what?
It says real sugar cane.
Real sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe the Kings need some of that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a conundrum.
At the end of the day, I want to know the De'Aaron Fox conversation. A lot of people are afraid or trade him because he'll probably walk. Well, I just wanted to say, does he look in the mirror at all to say, how much did I help this team before I walk? Because you know what I've always said, he walks, I don't see him being a pure number one again.
But coming from you, a guy who has had baseball teammates tell him, you're not a good teammate.
That was only one.
Okay.
But
didn't you say,
actually,
didn't you agree with it?
Actually, there's been more than one.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I can't say on these airwaves.
And didn't you kind of go, yeah, well, whatever.
Now I did. Yes. There's a couple times.
But that's another part of it. When you get into the issue of, are we trying to build a team at some point, or are we trying to save this season? Mm-hmm. Do the Kings need to save this season in order to keep De'Aaron Fox around? That's another part of this equation.
So if you trade, but that's why I feel like you can't really just trade one piece unless what you get back is perfect.
What do you think?
Perfect.
Herder, Lyles, Keegan, some kind of draft capital, whatever you decide, for Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Johnson.
I like that. Let me ask you this now.
Okay.
All right.
It works, by the way, according to the trade machine.
Well, you're going to talk about it here. You got a full show today, right? No. Oh, Monday Night Football.
As much as I'd love to do a full show.
I know. I'm sure you would. Let me just ask you this hypothetically.
Yeah.
As far as De'Aaron Fox as a number one pure scorer, when we've seen him just kind of do his thing versus this flow offense, right? Do you think the starting lineup would be better if you replace Domantas Sabonis and Keegan Murray right now with Kyle Kuzma and Jonas Valanciunas?
Nope.
You don't?
Nope. Kyle Kuzma. That's a lot of people.
But you see what I'm saying, right?
I heard you talk about that earlier because I listened to you and Anthony. I do.
I appreciate it.
On your first Pepsi.
Yeah, I don't.
But you see what I'm saying, though, right?
Kuzma guy. That's some people I know. Get Kuzma. Get BI. Get them both. Get John Collins, and we'll win every game. Like, nope, that ain't the way it works.
I guess I'm just saying, if you went more traditional at the big position, and then you got basically a future version of what we think Keegan's going to be, a starting. You could even be Cam Johnson if you want, right? And
you have to change everything, and I know that's part of
what I'm
reasoning,
saying.
But change it to what? I mean, why? How would it be better? I don't know. I understand. I appreciate the question. It's interesting, but I would not do it. You're all in on that?
No. I'm not all in on it because I'd want Jordan Poole as well. But besides that,
I don't know if I can even talk to you anymore. Although he's having a real efficiency.
He is.
He is.
Can you imagine that pop off the bench?
I don't want to. Speaking of pop,
yeah,
Pepsi made with real sugar.
He is.
Yeah.
I don't see a world. I'll put it to you like this. I don't know that I see a world where you keep Sabonis and move off of De'Aaron. I don't see a world like that.
Why? Not that you'd want to, but why not? You think
who's your main scorer?
Well, I still have DeRozan, don't I?
You have DeRozan.
Yeah. And I heard you guys talk about Malik. Malik's a pretty good point guard. When he came here, we didn't think he could play point guard at all.
No. The issue was the caller said, move on. Malik is your point guard. Devin, back him up. You need a superstar in this league. That was the problem with that statement because it was, okay, well, so you're going to, I think De'Aaron Fox is better than Malik, so why would you do that?
So Kuzma then becomes your big scorer? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no. I'm not moving off of De'Aaron in that situation.
Okay.
The Wizards situation.
So many scenarios now.
The Wizards situation was Sabonis and Keegan.
Right.
And I wasn't making the trade. I was just replacing for a more traditional.
I think that's true whether Sabonis is around or not. You lose De'Aaron Fox, you got a lot of points and production you got to make up for.
Well, I know you're going to break it all down, Whitey, for 4 minutes or however long the show is.
7.5 minutes, mister.
Thank you, Anthony, for everything.
Crushed it today.
Yes, great stuff today. Congrats to
Anthony,
our winner.
your shoulders sore from carrying Allen.
Congrats to our winner, Thomas Rhett, and you will have more chances throughout the week. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson. The drive, guys. Until tomorrow, secure the bag. Does a beam still work? Like the beam.
Remember
Christmas music is everywhere. The smell of gingerbread is in the air. And wait, what's that sound? It's Santa. He's headed back to Sacramento.